Demonetized. Because I just went full send. I said screw it and just put Corona in the title and in the description. I'm like, we're gonna test YouTube today to its absolute limits.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got going on here. Okay, according to the dashboard, it looks like we are in fact sending a video signal to YouTube. Hello, everybody.
That's it. Hello.
Good morning. I don't know if any of our Tech Talk song made it on there, but
Nah, I don't think it did.
yeah, we missed that opportunity. Good morning,
That's
everybody.
right.
Happy Saturday. Today is Tech Talk. We usually stream at Saturday 10 a.m. So if you're here, it means that you can follow a schedule almost as good as we can. So
And we're right on time, even like on the dot.
are.
It's amazing.
We are. You know what I noticed though is I did not center you up. I'm gonna fix that. Watch this. Drag you in a little. And I'm gonna go ahead and drag you over there. It's like Bob Ross. Like drag you over there a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pull a little bit angle there, and then I'm gonna move you over like this, over this side, and then I'm gonna grab you. And I'm gonna... Oh, you like that? You like that?
It's this way.
We're playing patty cake. No, do that again. Do that again with your hands. I got this idea. Dude, we just broke the fourth wall. Hey, Meckberg noticed my haircut. So
yeah, looking good, dude.
Yeah, we can get things kicked off with that. So since we can't go anywhere because of the social distancing thing and we're all like trapped in our houses, I had to get my wife to cut my hair because it was getting like full on super afro. Like it was so
Dude,
big
yeah.
that I couldn't even lay my head on the pillow because it was like so poofing out. Yeah, it was, it was just, I was beyond fat sweat at that point. It was just like, I was just sitting there sweating because it felt like I was wearing a helmet because my hair is so thick. So Miss Barnacules, I recruited her last night. And we actually recorded that shit and uploaded it to Patreon. So if you want to see that train wreck in effect, head on over there and check it out. But it took her about 30 minutes. And she went through and we used some just wall cutters, like the same thing she's been using on my son for years. And I just let her go to town. And it actually turned out pretty good. The only bad part is like the back. I don't know if you can see this, but the back like goes down a little bit too far. Like probably need to bring the back up a little bit. But other than that, no, man, I give it a solid 9 out of 10 on the haircutting scale. And I saved $20. Yeah. So I'm like, nice. Woohoo, man, that's $20 I can spend on, I don't know, food or toilet paper or something.
There you go.
So how has your week been, man? I haven't talked to you much this last week. Why don't you give us the recap of how your week was there, Mr. Beardosaur?
I mean, a lot of the same. Just staying inside, working. Work's been a little crazy. Like I actually still have a few things I need to finish. Because I have a blog post that's going to go up on Monday, I think, right, the 13th.
Ooh.
Adjusting to working from home and stuff. And it's just weird, man. All of this has been kind of weighing on me.
Dude, I think it's been weighing on everybody. Like this is this is definitely something I don't think. Well, I'm trying to figure out what you'd even compare it to. Like other things that we've had throughout our life, there's nothing really, right? It's like every natural disaster, every war that's happened, everything has been like on TV. Like it's something on TV. It's not something that like really reaches out and touches you in reality. And this is like the first thing that it's like it's everywhere. It's just it's everywhere. It's like you can't go. There's no place on earth where you can go right now and like escape this. It's like I'm pretty sure you could go to like Zimbabwe and find some like tribal people that have never seen a T-shirt. And they'd be like, oh, right. don't, Corona, and be like, oh, God, it's even reached you guys?
Initially, I kind of had in my own head, it was like, like a really bad snowstorm, where you're going to be locked up for a couple weeks or whatever, because you can't really you can't drive anywhere, at least, no long distance. Yeah. But you could probably walk yourself to the store or whatever. But man, it's like been 6 weeks now. Like I started working from home before it was like really a mandate, before it was even really like a big thing, just because I could, really. And the John and the company, they really are very forward thinking and stuff. And so like we already had it as a suggestion, like, hey, if you can, you go ahead and work from home. So for me, it's been since like I want to say just before the beginning of March, and or at a minimum the beginning of March, and so it's been near 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think in the 6 weeks I've only left the house like 3 times, and it's always been the same thing, to go to the store like in the middle of the night. It's weird.
I do walk around the neighborhood, try and do that a couple times, at least once a week or so, or not once a week, at least once a day. We skip here and there though sometimes, but because most everybody's inside, or you can just cross to the other side of the street or whatever. There's no big crowds or anything like that. So
when you're walking around though, do you like feel like when you see another person, do you feel differently now? Like I need to like avoid that person by like 6 feet. Like, do you got that constant thing going on in your head that's like everybody is a possible infection? Or are you like kind of chill about it?
Not really. I mean, everybody seems to just kind of have it in their head to keep a distance now.
Yeah.
It's almost not really a conscious thought. If like the family will stay close together because like we're all together anyway, so what difference does it make? But like there's definitely like if you see somebody from down the street, they'll go to the other side of the road and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've noticed all my neighbors are like staying in their yards. Like my neighbors have always like all the kids have run over into everybody's yards and everybody's playing in the street and playing basketball and everything. It's like now I go outside on a sunny day and it's like all the neighbors are like confined in their yards. They don't come out for nothing. And so at first I didn't want to let Xander play outside for a while because I was like, oh, these kids aren't going to understand how this works. Like their parents aren't going to explain it to them. And so I don't want a bunch of kids like running over and be like, hey, Xander, let's play, so. And I felt bad about it, but now it's like everybody's kind of keeping themselves. Everybody's taking this seriously. So now I do let him go outside and like play in the yard and go tool around, right in front of our house on a skateboard. And the kids seem to get it. Like they actually seem to be adjusting to it.
That's something I've noticed too. Is the disparity or like the extremes. Like my lady and I, we're taking it serious to the point that that the government and things have made it serious. But like I know others who aren't even letting their kids, like, you cannot go past the yard. Like you're not allowed. You can't go anywhere. You have to stay in the yard. You can't go past like onto the sidewalk past this line. And I'm like, man, that's like I feel like that's a little extreme. There's precautions to be taken and stuff, but man, I feel like you can't completely isolate like 100%. It's too hard.
I mean, I agree to a certain extent. I've kind of been a little bit of the parent that's like reining Xander in and like, hey, you got to stay in the yard and stuff. I do let him go out in the street because he can't ride his scooter in the yard, so I do let him go out in like the little street out in the cul-de-sac. But
sure.
But yeah, it's really hard to just act like everything's cool because kids, like, if they see each other, they just bolt towards each other normally. Like kids are just like, oh my god, there's a kid, hey, you're a kid. They're like dogs, barking at each other through a fence. They have to play, right? And it's really hard, like with somebody like my son, it's really hard to explain to him that you could get somebody else sick or they could get you sick. It's like we just don't know. We don't know who has what. It's like we can guess all day long, but it's just a guess, right? So you kind of have to act like everybody's infected and that you're potentially infected and stuff. But then you start thinking about it and you're like, well, how long is this going to go on for? Because
that's the thing.
At a certain point, it's like this can't be life forever. Obviously, right? I mean, nothing works. The economy crashes. It's like I'm not delusional. Like I can't just like sit here and go, okay, everybody can stay at home, and somehow in 10 years we figure this whole thing out and crack the code, and everybody ventures out in public. And that's not going to happen. So as time goes on, people are going to get more and more relaxed. People are going to start ignoring. There already are. A lot of people are ignoring the laws for shutting down businesses and just opening their businesses up and just taking the fines because they're just like, screw it. Like it's better to, make, $5,000 a day and get fined $1,000 than to make nothing a day and not get fined. And just to be clear, I'm not defending this activity right now. Everybody does need to be on lockdown. We still don't have enough information.
Sure.
But people are getting to that point now where it's like, if you have to make a decision, whether you have to just sit there and, and slowly die versus, okay, screw it, I'm going to take a chance. Especially on something that has the odds start looking better every day, because you're like, man, this could kill, what is it? Like, let's say 2 out of 100, 2 or 3 people out of 100 die. That sounds really bad right now, but as time goes on, people are going to get more relaxed in their head and be like, okay, well, if I have a 3 in chance out of 100 and I can go outside and I can do everything that I want to do, at some point that's going to seem more tantalizing than just staying at home and sitting on your hands and watching the news and just waiting for everything to play out. And I hope that we can get a handle on this before that happens. Because once we hit that floodgate, like where everybody's just like, screw you, government, screw you, states, we're just going to do what we want. We're going fucking insane. When that happens, I mean, then it's like the cat's out of the bag. There's really nothing you can do at that point. So hopefully they get this antibody testing going. Hopefully they get all this shit going so that people can figure out if they've already had it before. We can start getting an idea of like the genetic attributes of the virus, like for instance, who it affects more than others. You know, and information can be wrong. Like at the beginning, they're like, "Oh, this only really affects old people." Now they're finding out like 20 to 40-year-olds are dropping like flies, and healthy 20 to 40-year-olds. It's like not even like people with no pre-existing conditions are just dropping dead from this thing. They're like, okay, well, even though it still does affect the elderly more, we're finding that it affects 20 to 40 a hell of a lot more than we ever thought was possible.
Yeah,
and now you've got the thing where like the disproportionate deaths between Caucasians and African Americans. You have this and they're saying it's not because of genetics; it's because of just a higher disposition for things like blood pressure and stuff like that. They're starting to think that those are the connecting things. But it's scary because we don't know enough. We find out something new every day, and half the time we find out something that contradicts what we thought we knew the day before.
Right.
And
I mean, that's kind of the part of it with viruses and stuff, man. It's like it definitely hits different people in different ways and stuff. You know, like heck, I could have had it and just never knew. You know, like
dude, I've been sick like 4 times, like in the last like month and a half, 2 months, and it's always been sinus, always been chest, like. Right? It's like what?
Right.
I don't know.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have an abundance of caution to a certain extent. You know, we're not going out as much as we used to, or basically just groceries. Or you know, a lot. There's like the Thai I had was takeout, like but even then, like there's all kinds of barriers and stuff. I'm 6 feet away from the lady who's ringing me up, and they've just got the little card thing behind, like she's behind a shield. She's 6 feet from they've got like 2 tables set up so that you couldn't even reach her if you wanted to. There's one little card thing, and they got like hand sanitizer right there, and they're like, you know, wipe your shit off before you put it into the card reader, punch, wipe your hands again, here you go. They're like, there's like almost an airlock where they put the food down and then they step away and go back around the counter, and then you can come and grab the thing and walk out. And one person in the restaurant at a time. There's like people waiting in their cars to go into the door.
It's literally the soup Nazi now from Seinfeld.
Practically, but without the line. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
You know what? I'm glad they're taking it seriously though, because one, as a restaurant owner, if a bunch of people end up getting sick that eat at your restaurant, you're done. Like even after this thing, it's like we all know how that plays out with restaurants, right? They rarely come back from that. So they have to take it really seriously. The other thing is they're setting a good example, right? If people see that and it becomes the new normal in the short term, then other people are going to become more accepting of it. And it's like I go to Safeway and there's like a blast shield between me and the cashier now. It's like you're at a bank. You know, you got like this 1/4-inch sheet of Lexan between you and the cashier, so that, you know, like a sneeze guard. And and it's just crazy to see that in a short period of time, even in like 6 weeks, how much we've already adapted our lives to something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It shows how I've always had a very strong love and faith in humanity as a species. Like, we are tenacious to no end. Like, you know, we'll be fine. You know. In the long run, as a human, as a species, we'll be okay. We adapt very quickly, very easily to. Like, there are human beings who live places where no other creature on the planet should ever be living, and it's like, we're cool with that. And so
technology is a hell of a drug, man. Hey, Brooklyn Shields, thank you for the $2 in tips. I appreciate it. I don't know why it retracted your message. I honestly don't know why. I apologize for that.
When I saw it come up and I said thanks, there wasn't a message, so I don't know what
there was 2 separate tips, and the first one had a message, but it said message retracted. I don't know why. Hey, Chad, thank you for the $5 for my wife's wonderful hair cutting skills. I think she did a fantastic job. Even like she got me around the ears, like tapered it and stuff. It's like, dude, why am I paying Great Clips $20, man? This whole time I had a hair savant in my house. Hey, Edgars, thank you for the 5 the €5. He said, finally I can watch live, watching from 200K sub Barney. Greetings from Latvia. Dude.
Latvia, which I think has like the best internet on the planet.
Really?
I'm pretty sure Latvia has some of the best internet speeds in the world.
Where is Latvia? Because I can't even like picture that geographically.
I think it's small Eastern Europe.
Okay.
I want to say former Soviet state. but I'm probably wrong in that.
A former Soviet state with like the best internet. Come on, now you're just contradicting yourself.
No, I mean it. It's just north of Lithuania. It's on the
Dude, that does not sound like a place where you'd have super high speed internet.
Northern Europe. My bad.
Okay.
So, across the way from Stockholm, right across near Belarus. I mean, if
it's a stone throw from Germany, I could see him having good internet.
No, it's I mean, it butts up against Russia proper. So, where Belarus, Ukraine, north of Belarus and Ukraine, Lithuania. But yeah,
Latvia is west of Russia. Okay. Hey, Edgar's, how fast is your internet connection, bro? Naota, thank you for that $10 tip.
That they had some of the best internet.
Naota said, this whole pandemic situation is crap, and I know it's serious. However, don't like the amount of misinformation and lies being circulated around social media and in the news. You know what? That happens no matter what, though. That's actually one of the biggest things I think we need to adapt to as a species, is that we're so online connected people now. And it's like everybody is throwing information. I've done it too, man. I will nut up and say I have spread misinformation. I've been duped by the same fucking machine that's duped everybody else. And it's really frustrating because on the internet, information moves so damn quick that by the time you validate it or verify it, you're already on to the next 5 things that are in the list, and you're like, what the hell's going on? So it's really difficult. We have to slow down, got to take a breath, and we got to like not react instantly to like the thing that we see that's trending. Because just because it's trending doesn't mean it's true. It just means a lot of people were scared shitless and retweeted it because they were like, the clickbait effect.
That picture I tagged you in with the chemtrails business, man. I was totally goofing on that, and there were a couple people who got seriously like about it.
Same thing with 5G, dude. The 5G thing, I thought that was a total joke. I thought that was like straight up onion level shit when somebody brought that up last week. And now it's like people are coming into my Discord and shit and like posting links to what they think is like credible news sources. They're like, oh, 5G has like the special radiation from the wavelength of 5G or whatever. It's like destroying your cell walls and giving you cancer. And I'm like, do you guys not understand? You're getting bombarded. Dude, you've been bombarded by 5G fucking radio waves for like the last 60 years, man. Yeah, it's like you're bombarded by the entire spectrum of radio waves to some degree from fucking space, just noise from our star. Yeah.
It has to be high energy. Like if you were standing in front of a microwave transmitter, or like back in the day, there's like the heavy duty high energy radio transmitters, like on destroyers and shit. If you're standing in front of the dish for that for 15 minutes, you're probably not going to have kids anymore.
Well, the general rule of thumb is if you're standing in front of the transmitter and you feel your body suddenly getting super, super hot and you feel a burning sensation, you probably should just get away from that. Like our bodies are pretty good at telling us. Our bodies are pretty good at telling us when shit's going down. I mean, now there's ionizing radiation, which is a little different. Right. Ionizing radiation,
nuclear.
Exactly. That's like you don't feel it. Gamma rays and shit like that. You don't feel that, and that's just bullets going through your body, just taking shit out. Right. Yeah. But even then, it's different. Like the dosage level that you need to get to actually get like substantial amounts of cancer. Because remember, it's not about all of us have cancer. That's rule number 1, is every single human body on the planet has some kind of cancer, because cancer is just defined as just basically a cell that gets damaged and reproduces. But as long as you only have a little bit of it in your body is like predisposed to kill it, and it dies off. It's only when it becomes like a big concentration of it, or your body just straight up ignores it. That's when you have a really big problem. But 5G is not going to give you cancer. Unless you are literally sitting with your testicles pressed against like a 500,000 watt transmitter and you can literally feel your teeth buzzing, then maybe there's some credibility there, but you're not getting it at a distance.
And there's something to be said about, like, I remember reading years ago, how ladies will they'll tuck their phone into their bra strap. Yep. Right. And there is some little bit of evidence that doing so will raise the chance of breast cancer. But again, this is an exposure for long periods of time of a highly concentrated radio transmission being beamed right into you. Like I oftentimes keep my phone, between my legs, while I'm driving. That probably has had some effect on my ability to reproduce.
I mean, I'd be surprised if it does, honestly, because I don't think a phone is a high enough powered transmitter these days. Maybe like the original Nokia brick phones from like the 80s. But I think modern phones transmit at such a low power state that I don't think it's any more than like CB. Like honestly, a CB radio probably puts out more power than a freaking modern cell phone. And plus, that's why the towers have to be so close. You ever notice that? Like, people don't realize the reason you get cell reception isn't because your phone is this badass fucking transmitter that can go 100 miles. It's because there is literally a cell tower or two of them, like, every fucking mile.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 or 4 sometimes, depending on what kind of built-up area you're in. That wasn't the case back in the 80s. Like, when the Motorola brick phone came out.
No.
That's some... What?
Oh, I accidentally hit a message and I didn't mean to.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Sorry.
So anyways, the old Motorola brick phones, those things had to be so big because the transmission power had to be high because, of course, they didn't have a lot of cell towers. Like, you had to be able to broadcast for, like, 5 or 10 miles to get to a tower. Now the towers are everywhere, so the phone power can keep coming down and down and down, and the frequency can keep going up and up and up. So as far as now I'm not saying right now, I want to go on record, I am not a scientist at the level where I can definitively tell you that your cell phone isn't killing you in the end. But I can tell you from what I do know that the likelihood of that happening and the likelihood that you're getting way worse radiation, like common radiation throughout your day, like from the sun, for instance, like X-ray machines. Everybody's like, oh my God, if you get a bunch of X-rays, you know, when I go get an X-ray, the doctor wears a thing over them because, you know, they don't want to get cancer from giving so many X-rays a day. There is a little bit of truth to that, obviously, because even though X-rays are non-ionizing radiation, you're getting a pretty fucking healthy dose of it. Like, I mean, you're getting...
and it's concentrated.
It's like concentrated. It's a beam. And the other thing, too, is they've said in many studies that you would have to get, like, fucking, like, 30,000 X-rays to, like, equal the same amount of radiation or something. No, not 30,000. It's way less. Maybe 300. But you'd have to get, like, 300 X-rays to get the same radiation exposure that you'd get from the same rays coming from the sun over the course of, like, a year or something like that. So the doctors are wearing that shit just to protect themselves because they're doing, like, you know, they're doing, like, 50 X-rays a day or 100 X-rays a day. It's like they got to protect their shit, right? And they cover up your balls because, of course, you know, it's like, you know, we're wearing them some bitches on the outside. There's not a lot of shielding there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to toast your nudicles, and it's... and so they'll throw a lead shield over that shit. But realistically, it's like, it's all safe. It's all safe. We've been doing X-rays for years and years and years and years and years, and we know the effects. But theoretically, if you did stand in front of an X-ray machine and you just put that thing on loop for days and days and days and days and days, you would eventually get to a point where you probably would develop some kind of cancer, or at the very least, you'd probably have some kind of immune system failure of some kind. You'd develop some kind of loss in immunity because your cells in your body would be so fuckered up. But I don't know how many, and plus we don't even use the same amount of X-ray energy because, you know, technology gets better. It's like in the 50s, it's like they used to use, what was 1,000 times more power to get an X-ray. So it was like getting 1,000 X-rays to get one picture, where now they can, with modern equipment, they can hit you 1,000 times with that machine and give you the same amount of radiation as like one picture, like back in the 50s. So, you know, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different now. That's why we don't have you notice they don't have those X-ray machines anymore where they just put the fucking phosphor pane in front of you and just blast radiation through you. Oh, remember those?
Yeah.
So that's how they used to do X-rays, right? Like before film, like the old hospital medical outfits, like the MASH units. They would literally have, like, what do they call, a fluorescein scope or whatever that they put in front of your body, and they would just blast you.
Yeah, that goofy, like...
it just looks like an old in cartoons. Yeah, it's like a green looking pane, and they can see all your bones and everything through it. So that way they don't need to actually expose a piece of film. They can just look at the screen and get like a live view of the inside of your body. And it's like, well, we don't do that anymore. We just take it and go, meep, and there it is. You got your picture fully exposed. We don't just sit there and just keep bombarding you with radiation for like 20 minutes while doctors are scratching their head going, we see something in the lung there moving around a little bit. Okay. Huh. They still can do it though. I mean, I've seen that they do some surgeries under live X-ray. Like for instance,
neat.
I got that when they did my blood clot. What was it called? Thrombosis is the name of the operation that they did, where they basically ran a cord up through my arm. So they put a stent into my vein, my big vein in my arm, and then they ran like a rotor-rooter thing up into my chest, so that they could remove a clot that was right here. And I had to be conscious the entire time, because if the clot if they break it into too big of pieces, those pieces can go up into your brain and cause you to be like, and so they need to be able to ask you questions through the whole surgery. So I was awake during the surgery. And they had the X-ray machine right over me, giving a live like 60 frame per second view of my vascular system.
Wow.
It was crazy. You could see everything. You could see the little cord, like as they were like fishing it up through my arm and getting it stuck on shit. And they were like, oh, goddamn, another fat person cholesterol block. Yikes. So I watched that shit live on a screen, and the doctor, while he's doing it, he's not looking at me while he's doing it. He's looking at this giant like 80-inch plasma screen on the ceiling. You know, he's like just trying to get it right in the perfect place. I was like, man, technology is fucking rad, man. Yeah, like we live in a time that allows us to be Really? Well, I don't want to say it does allow people to be stupid, but that's not where I was going with it. Is our technology allows us to survive something like what we're going through right now way easier than say even like 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago.
Man, yeah, for sure. I say this all the time. Like for all of the bad stuff that's going on around in the world, like it's really the best time ever in human history to be alive. This is hands down the greatest time of our like existence.
Agreed.
Like, I mean, I think they were saying like global homicide rates are at an all-time low, despite a lot of what you see going on. Despite the fact that yes, there are like certain pockets of that's really bad, but just on the whole, this is the best it's ever been.
So, no, I
way behind on super chats. What do you mean? Uh-oh.
Wait, what happened?
Somebody said we're way behind on super chats.
Oh shit. Well, we better catch up on that. You want me to go ahead and hit him there, bro?
Yeah.
All right, Caleb Lemoyne. Thank you for the $20. We really do appreciate that. That's super supportive. He said, "Been a follower for a while. Stay safe, bud." Hey, we're doing our best, man. We're doing our best. So far, I don't think I got the corona, either that or I got it like 4 times already, and I just don't know. You know, we really don't know. Sin Format, thank you for the $5. He said, "Jerry, just curious, how far are you into Tiger King? I binge watched the entire thing in 3 days, and it is the craziest fucking roller coaster ride ever." And I realize that a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, don't talk about Tiger King," because it is literally like it's number like 2 behind coronavirus. Right, it's like coronavirus and Tiger King rule the culture right now. All I can tell you is, man, you couldn't write that shit. Like, that has to be a documentary, because like, I don't care how much LSD you took before you wrote the script to that movie, you would never be anywhere close to that fucked up. Like, it's stranger than fiction kind of shit. Hey Edgar, thank you for the two was that euros? Thank you for the €2. Said he has optic. Oh, of course he has gigabit. Okay, you're right. So Latvia's got pretty badass.
$30.
Dude,
cheap.
So he's got 100 megabit. Hold on here. So his house is 100 megabit and 4G, and then easy optic 1 gig. And I'm gonna guess that's symmetrical. Wow, you get 1 gig for $30 a month? Jesus, I am jealous. Dude, right. I don't even have symmetrical gigabit. I have gig down theoretically, but it's over copper, so that means 800. I've never gotten over like 800, 830. But my upstream is stuck at 30 because they don't have that many dedicated upstream channels here. So it's the least symmetrical internet connection that you've probably ever seen. Like, the only one worse than that that I could think of is I used to have DSL, and I had 30 megabit down and 0.5 megabit up. 0.5, not even 1, 0.5 megabit up.
Gross.
And I used that as a backup connection. I was like, are you shitting me? You guys can give me 30 meg down, but you can't give me more than 0.5 up? Like, what's up with this shit? And they all tell me the same thing. They're like, well, our infrastructure doesn't have as much dedicated to upload as it does for download. And it's like, well, go fix that shit. Like, I'm sure there's a cupboard you can open somewhere and screw a bulb in and make that work.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It is pretty damn dumb. So, and earlier you were talking about, like, you know, people can live anywhere on the planet, right? Like, humans can, like, shit. We live in space. There's nothing more harsh than space. We literally live in space.
Everywhere.
So we're everywhere, awesome. And technology allows that, right? I mean, that's the crux of it. Is if we think about this, what if this corona thing hit? And we've had pandemics before, right? In 1918, right? We had the Spanish flu. And I'm sure we've had plenty of other pandemics since then that weren't as bad, but still, you know, were bad enough that people were like, what the fuck? But think about it. How bad would this pandemic be without the internet? Without people being able to communicate instantaneously, and without being able to have some dude just drop groceries on your porch?
Dude, if this had happened in 1983, this would be a hell of a lot worse. Ooh. Like, come on.
No way. Dude, people wouldn't even know about it for like weeks, man.
Yeah.
Because back then, some people didn't even watch the news or didn't even get the news on their TV. They didn't even get a newspaper. Like, they didn't pay attention to shit. I remember when I was a kid, Desert Storm was going on for like 2 weeks before like finally we got a nice enough signal on channel 11 or whatever with our aerial that, you know, there's the war. We're in week 2 of the war or something. I'm like,
that's early 90s.
Yeah. That's like early 90s. I still was like completely oblivious. Today, if a war breaks out, it's like we know about it before the first missile hits. Like, it's already, like, trending on Twitter, and it's like, oh, missile heading towards the United States. It's currently 2/4 of the way, and we know about it.
Yeah, man. Like, when, that was only just a couple months ago when we were blowing up Iran for a minute. Like, that shit was trending on Twitter within hours. Yeah. Within hours of reports of it happening, of the base getting hit for, like, the initial attack, and our retaliation was, like, within hours. Probably minutes, but it was first reported, like... You can't stop it, man. You cannot stop the internet.
Yep.
What's that from Mr. Universe? From the fucking
Can't stop the signal.
Firefly. You can't stop the signal
Can't
now.
stop the signal, man.
You can't. It's crazy.
No, it's what makes it really funny is that people report the shit before the news companies do. Like it used to be, we relied on the news, right? Now in a modern day, it's like we rely on just random people with cell phones everywhere. And we know about shit like before the even news, like before the news even knows, the investigator knows it happens. You've already got like 20 posts on social media that are on their way to trending. And this happens all the time. It's like when that base was hit, right? When the base was hit over in Iraq or whatever, it's like there was already people posting pictures, like people just in town
instantly,
like instantly posting pictures, like, oh my god, so there's an explosion over the horizon. Look at these flashes, and it's like they didn't know what happened, right? They didn't have all the information, but it's like technically we had a video like as it was happening, posted right after it happened, and all the news outlets are like scratching their head, like, oh, whoa, what happened? Hey, Pentagon, you want to make a statement?
Yeah, I love the crowdsource, like man on the street kind of news that happens on social media. I think that's one of the plus sides for sure.
Yeah, you can't hide anything in this day and age. That's why I always laugh at people that have the conspiracy theories, right? Like the hashtag film your hospital is one that I told you I wanted to talk about.
What is that? You mentioned that.
Okay,
I don't know. Yeah, what was that?
So basically there's a conspiracy going on by like the extreme right, not just people on the right. I'm talking extreme right, like extremist with a capital E. These people are like, they're like drive around and film your hospitals and post it online to prove that no hospitals are under duress and this entire virus is basically a hoax. And so what they're doing is they're posting videos of these hospitals completely out of context. They're posting old footage of a hospital that doesn't have a date or anything. And then they'll post like conversations that are completely taken out of context that they're just recording out of their pocket phone. And it's like the biggest one going on right now is that New York, no hospital in New York is under any duress. They're actually seeing less cases now than they ever have in history. And so there's this huge effort to spread this propaganda. They even got it trending to some degree. That's how it got on my radar. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, are you shitting me? And they're like, you look at, and they're like, you can't trust mainstream media because they're making up. First of all, mainstream media does embellish. Doesn't matter which side of the party you're on. They all embellish. That's how they get views.
Entertainment.
It's entertainment.
It's entertainment. Don't ever take it with any sort of
always investigate. But the thing is like there's stuff that the news does where it's like they're not doing any creative cutting or anything. They're literally talking to a doctor or they are literally talking to a nurse or something like that. It's like, yeah, they may embellish the story, they may try to push the narrative, but you can't really fake the doctor standing there going, oh my fucking god, I want to kill myself, because all these people and it's a doctor that's like well known and acknowledged by by everybody, and you're like, oh no, that's an actor. That's an actor, hashtag, oh, that was an actor. No. There's like some shit going down. And the other thing is it's causing people now to drive out to hospitals and shit and like go in with their cell phones and start taking video and stuff, which is putting more stress on the hospital, spreading the infection. Hospitals are already clearing their waiting rooms and making sure that people don't show up before they call because they don't want to keep spreading the infection. And they're leveraging the situation and the safeguards as a mechanic to basically say that that this isn't happening, that this is all just a lie by the deep state. And it's the same people that do the anti-vaxxer shit where it's like, oh, we don't need vaccines anymore because those viruses are gone. We don't need No, they're gone because of the vaccines. You can't chicken and egg this shit.
Yeah.
And so that's the new thing that's going on is all these conspiracy theories flying around. That was straight up flat earth though. That's right up there with the 5G theory crazy. Where it's like, yeah, because my hospitals, even where I live here in Washington, it's like Swedish and Evergreen are both saying, do not even come in before you call. Like, do not even come in. Like, we're already struggling, and we're actually handling it well here. Imagine New York, man. The New York is like fucked right now. You can't sit there and stay. And then the person's like, oh yeah, the hospital ship was just brought in for show to perpetuate this deep state thing. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? We can't get our president to do anything. Like, and he sent a ship. Like, we got the dude to actually send a ship who like doesn't do it. Like, the dude doesn't do anything. He won't spend $1 unless it somehow comes 90 cents comes back to him. Yeah, and he sent a ship. So come on, guys, be realistic. That's all I'm saying.
I think the best part about all this is a lot. I feel, at least maybe this is very anecdotal. Okay, but I feel like there is a lot more focus locally. Like people, like I the Thai that I got, I deliberately went to a small local restaurant who was trying to keep their doors open.
Yep.
There was somebody in chat who mentioned like during my walks, did I notice people saying like, hey, hello, and waving and stuff more often? Yeah, I totally do. I feel like because we are Yeah, definitely support your local businesses as much as you possibly can. I threw $20 at my barber. She can't be working right now, but I PayPal her straight up like, hey, look, this is what I got. I wouldn't, you know, it's in my budget for a $50 haircut, right? I go up to West Seattle to get my shit done
Dude, you take
because
your
it's super
haircut
fresh.
seriously, man. I've heard some
Hey, no
stories.
shit. And so like I'm invested to keep her going because like she doesn't even know if the spot where she rents her chair is gonna even be there after all this. Like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So like serious business, like if you can, definitely help your local people as much as you can. And just be nice and focus locally. Like it doesn't matter. Honestly, I'm in Washington State. It doesn't matter if New York is packed. To me, I can't do anything about that.
Right,
Um,
right.
but I can stay away from Auburn General. If I do end up getting sick or hurt myself some reason or whatever. Like I can have the most effect in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? Talk to your neighbors, make sure they're doing good. Hey, do you need anything? I'm heading to the grocery. Do you
Yep.
need help? A lot of grocery stores are doing like senior hour first thing in the morning, where like see if you can help out. And I definitely think that that's a big positive for all of this dark times.
It's
Is I do
definitely
think
bringing people
people
together, right? I mean, that's
I
the thing I'm
definitely
seeing
feel
is,
that
yeah.
for sure.
Like my neighbors talk to me more than they ever have, and it's like
Yeah.
and I'm on good terms with my neighbors. It's just usually where it's all there's a hustle and bustle, and now it's like everybody just wants some kind of human contact. So it's like the other day I sat out on my porch, and my friend Chris that lives next door. Usually I'd go over to his house or he'd come over to my house, or and he just stayed on his porch. I stayed on my porch. We were about probably 30, 40 feet away, and we just talked back and forth for like an hour. It was just
Yeah.
like come out on your
Yeah.
porch, get some sun, and have a conversation. And I think that's cool. I think that's cool that people are still
Uh,
staying in touch. People walk by or ride their bike in front of my house. They'll wave.
yeah.
Everybody's being really courteous for the most part. Now, there's the flip side of that too, where it's like I hear nonstop sirens all day. Where in my town, I never heard that before. So there's
Ooh.
obviously a lot of ambulances and a lot of police like presence in the area, and
Yeah.
and you hear people like burning out and doing donuts and street racing and stuff like all hours of the day. Whereas that,
Tempe.
yeah, that only used to happen like at night. Like it'd be 11 o'clock at night, and you'd hear somebody in like a gassed out Camaro like brrr, flying by the house, and now it's like all day. Like you just open the window and you listen off in the distance, just wah 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 wah
Oh,
wah.
that's
Two
awesome.
two cars obviously street racing, and so it's people just taking advantage of the situation out, blowing off some steam. Um,
Yeah.
but then you hear the cops it's like whoop 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 whoop. So the cops are still full out in force. Like I kind of thought that the police would be slowed down a little by this, but if anything, I think they've kind of been
Right.
sped up a little.
The big positive thing about this, people are being nicer and want to interact more. For sure. Why does it take a crisis for people to be nice and friendly? Why can't this happen every day? Honestly, I think that has a great deal to do with, and I'm going to pick on Americans in particular.
Do it, man. Let us
Um,
have it.
we, I've noticed this because like from what I've heard of people who've spent time like in Europe and stuff, it's very different. Um, like Europeans seem to have, and again, maybe this is by place, but it seems from what I've heard, the Europeans have a lot more of a slower take on life. They seem to enjoy their lives a little bit, and I feel like the United States society or the way that we are has kind of spread to well everywhere,
Yeah.
where we're very individualistic. We're very I got to get mine before you get yours kind of mentality where um, it's a good thing to step on the backs of people to get to where you want to go, or I got to stack my bread first kind of
Yep.
thing. Or even just flex, like I got to wear the cooler thing than you. I have to have better shoes, better car, better house, better whatever, just to look like I'm cooler than you or whatever. Yeah, we're more selfish
We are.
in a way.
We
Um,
absolutely are. Like, and again, we're not speaking
yeah,
for
keeping
everybody.
up
We're
with the
just this is
Joneses.
just the general
No,
consensus of like what
it
what I observe here in
yeah, the
Washington, even in
average.
Seattle, is that everybody is like, you get out of my way, I'm not going to get out of your way, kind of thing, or I'm more
Yeah,
important than you are at the moment because I got this, this, and this. It's like we are definitely and I would even sum this up to technology too. Is it's just the technology of our era basically makes us all alphas, right? We're all the kings of our little social media empires. We're all the kings of our little jobs. We all can find a space where it's like, oh, we don't need anybody else. We're our own people, and we're better because of this, and this. And I think that mentality starts to lead to you just becoming a little bit arrogant and a little bit unself-aware.
Yeah.
And so now you have so many people that are actually
vanity.
There you go. Vanity is a really good way to look at it. And I think other parts of the world, it's like people still have that connection where it's like, I need other people. Like, they're not loners. Right. They're like, we need other people. And it's like part of the human experience is to share it with somebody else, you know? It's better to go to McDonald's and share a cheeseburger with somebody than it is to go to a steakhouse and sit there by yourself and eat a steak. Whereas here in America, I'm like, I'm gonna go sit in the steakhouse, eat my steak, and fucking fart around on my phone. You know, it's like,
yeah.
So I think this virus situation has forced us all to rediscover that it's like, oh, we need each other a lot more than we let on. Like, we really do. Yeah. Like, human contact is like at a premium right now. Like, I get people messaging me on Facebook like, hey, you just want a video chat? Nobody used to do that. Like, nobody cared. Right? Nobody wanted a video chat. Yeah. They didn't watch a live stream. But I get people be like, hey, I'm bored. You want to get on a video chat? Hey, you want to play a game or something and get on comms, you know, and talk some shit and go kill some noobs? And that's happening a lot more now than it's ever happened before. Just people just randomly reaching out and just wanting, you know, to either have a conversation or want to just play a video game. I've even had some people that were like, oh, you want to watch a VR movie? I got this thing where we watch like a VR movie, like you put on your headset, we both sit in the theater and we can like talk and watch the movie together through VR.
Sick.
And I'm like, I've heard of this, but I've never tried it myself because I've been too busy smelling my own farts, you know?
I think Netflix has a thing where it's like a watch party, Netflix watch party.
Yep.
Where like you and some buddies can all watch the same show, same movie at the same time, kind of thing, and that is fucking cool, man.
Yeah, it's like all these
what a time to be alive,
dude. There's gonna be a huge boost in social applications and social services. Like, for instance,
for sure.
Zoom, right? Which even with all the bad press they're getting right now, it's like Zoom's like tripled or quadrupled their user base like in a month. Like, because there's so many people that are realizing that, wait a second, there's an app now where you can have like 20 people on the screen at the same time. It's like, bitch, we had that back in like the 90s. It was called See You See Me. You know, it's it's like basically that wheel got reinvented by this dude. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's brand new. But it's just people are not aware of it because it's like when every moment of your day is taken up by either social media or playing a video game or some kind of self-centered activity, right? Mm-hmm. You don't need anybody else. Like, you don't realize it. It's like you don't need anybody else in a physical capacity. But when there's like nothing to do and you're stuck at home and you can't go outside and you've kind of exhausted those things, and everybody's on social media at the same time and everybody's going 100 miles an hour and it becomes quite frankly like depressing and makes you anxious, then you're like, fuck it. You start going in search of these things that you didn't go in search of before. And that's why they're getting so much press and why Zoom's growing so big and why Skype's growing. And now Discord, I guess I haven't tried it yet, but apparently Discord, you can do up to like 50 cams at a time or some shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's been a thing for a bit, though.
I've never tried it.
Well, as we're doing here, yeah, their video chat has been really well done for at least a year now. Yeah.
Wow, man. Wow. Yeah, it's an interesting time that we live in, man.
I dig it.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
So now we got to talk about the human trash, though. We're gonna go ahead and segue into the scammers that are taking advantage of this situation. Because, of course, scammers have, like, no ethics, and they're literally the absolute bottom of the barrel human beings. I've already seen quite a few scams going on. I don't know if you've been watching, but there was a scam where people were setting up fake fucking drive-through testing and charging people. Did you see that?
Yep. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't hear about this, I can't remember which state it was in. And I'm sure it's happened in multiple areas. They just got caught. These people got caught, like, basically citizen arrest style. And basically, some people just pulled in a truck and set up a big fucking overhead tarp and put on some fake ass PPE, and were letting people drive up, and they were just taking, I think it was $250. It was $250 a test, and there was like a line like 8 cars long behind them, and they were literally just swabbing people with like regular, like not even like a medical swabs, like a fucking Q-tip in their nose, and then basically taking it and just throwing it in a garbage bag and then just throwing it away. They weren't doing any testing, they weren't sending anything off. They were just collect $250, then telling them, having them put their information on a sheet of paper that they print out, probably out of some Xerox and a fucking thing, and they're like, we'll send you your results, you know, in 24 hours or whatever, and then they pack up and they leave. You never get your results. And a team actually, like these people that were, I think they worked for the church. I think it was these church people that were there, like noticed this was going on and went over and like asked them for their credentials. And they spelled HIPAA wrong. It was like HIPPA instead of HIPAA. And on their big sign that they had. And when they called them out, they like fucking freaked out, loaded everything in the truck and just took off. And I was like, my God, dude, how... And the thing is, they were probably spreading it, right? because they're like fucking handling these swabs, and they're not trained properly, and they're just a bunch of people that are trying to fucking make a quick dollar, and they're probably just spreading infection from human to human to human. Everybody that came through there to get tested, if they weren't positive when they went in, they're probably positive now.
Yeah.
So
I'm a bit mixed on this, because like on the one hand, gotta respect the hustle. Like, damn.
I mean, as far as crime is concerned, like coming up with that idea, I will admit, is pretty fucking like Marvel villain kind of shit, right?
However, I definitely think that it's the execution is wrong, right? You're definitely exploiting the fear and things like that, and that is wrong. It's like a weird, I'm conflicted on the inside of me, because on the one hand it's like, man, clever as shit, very clever, but I don't like exploiting people or abusing people's fear.
Yeah.
And because it makes people stupid, right? Like on those folk probably wouldn't have fallen for it in a different sort of moment. You know what I mean? If they had set up a tent and was like, "Oh, come get your flu shots," and they were like, "Here, or we have a special pill that's going to get you from the flu. You skip your flu shot this year. You can just eat this sugar pill." Like, they probably wouldn't have been as successful. And so like the exploitation of the situation is shitty, but like just pretty clever.
When people are desperate, though, it's like $250 and people were lining up. Like, dude, and I think normally, like, through the drive-thru or something like that, first of all, you don't just drive up and pay them cash. Like, that's not how it works, right? They're going to try to bill your insurance. If they can't bill your insurance or you don't have any insurance, they're going to mail you a bill to whatever address you put on the thing, right? They're not going to ask you for money right there. So
that's where I'm a little conflicted. Is because, like, people... Again, like, they're exploiting the fear. Like, the average person probably wouldn't have fallen for it if it was any other time. If this had been, like I said, like a flu thing or something, they probably wouldn't have worked, because people are smarter than that. Like, hey, how do I bill my insurance for this? Or like, I thought this was supposed to be free from the government or whatever. And nobody stopped to think and question it, because they're like, oh my God.
Right. That's the trick with fear, though, is as fear goes up, common sense goes down. Like, because you basically start switching from intellect to instinct, right? You start you stop questioning things, and you start just going, I'll do whatever it takes, right? It's like if you're starving to death or whatever, and you're not going to live another day, then all of a sudden you don't start thinking so rationally and stuff. You just start running around throwing rocks at shit until it dies and then eat it. It's like you stop being so picky. That's one of the scams, though. There's so many other ones.
One, for sure.
Yeah, and we all know the scam where like everybody was like hoarding hand sanitizer and masks and trying to sell it at like exorbitant. So that was another one that was highly successful, where people were selling millions and millions of dollars on Amazon before eBay and Amazon shut them down. Like, people were paying $80 for a bottle of Purell. Like, crazy. My God, right? So that was another scam. Now there's the phones. The phone scams are starting to come out. So I just heard the first one the other day. I haven't gotten one myself personally.
Check?
Huh?
For the stimulus check?
There's the stimulus check one, and then there's one where they're literally calling around basically telling you that somebody you've been in contact with has coronavirus. And basically you need to call a number immediately or whatever, and you basically, they basically, over the way the scam works is they basically talk you into basically giving them like Walmart gift cards and shit like that in exchange for them to basically like send you the test results and the likelihood of you being sick, and then basically tell you to go to the hospital to get your test after you pay for it. So, like, there's people that fall for that they're going to, like, go to the hospital and be like, I'm here for my test. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you just gave Indian scammers a Walmart gift card. Like, Jesus, what's wrong with you? Oh, my God. Hey, Dan, what's up, my man? Thank you for the $3.99 Canadian. He said, I want to add that I strongly dislike the new UI language. When I look at classic Windows UI, you can tell it was built to get work done, and it feels right, in my opinion. I'd love to hear your point about it. Here's the thing. The user interface in Windows has evolved, and I use that term very loosely. But it's evolved over the years so that more people can understand it, and it has a more common and intuitive language. Unfortunately, for something to be more intuitive generally means that it's going to be less advanced and less configurable. And that's my biggest, because, right, you have to narrow people down like it's like cattle, right? You got to put the fence in and have them follow the fence. You don't give them 1,000 places they can go, because then they'll never come together and congregate. So you give them one path. And Microsoft has been doing that. Actually, everybo's been doing that to some degree, even OS X, even Linux, like some of the shells that they're putting on Linux now. They're designing them to dumb them down so that everybody can use them. That's the crux of it. Me personally, I still miss the old UI where it's like all business, right? It's like we've gone from business to mullet to just like straight up like party. That's it. No business in the front party there. It's just all party.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Targaryen, thank you for the $20 tip, man. He said, "Hey Jerry, longtime fan, just stopped by to share some love. Love your way and these trying times. Before I go fix up a few small things on my '97 Civic, I just snagged. Congratulations. Hondas are fun to work on. Eventually, I'll go cliche and make it a little street car out of it. Dude, do it, man. Hondas could be fast. I've seen a 7-second Honda before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Toothless, thank you for the 200 rupees. Said lockdown is good. In India, they're going to extend it up to next month. But I'm running out of food for my flower horn pet fish. I am worried, sir. Hopefully you can order that shit online. So hit up your Amazon and see if that's still considered like, as important as dildos, because apparently dildos are really important. Yeah, let's see, man. Dan had another one too. So Dan, thank you for the $7 Canadian. He said, where can I find in-depth technical discussions about Microsoft and Windows insides? You sometimes make videos that I like, and I really enjoy them. I mean, YouTube's full of them, man. There's lots of people on YouTube that make videos on Windows 10 and its inner workings and stuff like that. There's no shortage of videos like that. If you want to take it to like the next level, you could actually go buy like a Udemy course on the internals of Windows, like and I mean, they go deep. Like if you want to learn about like how the kernel works, and you want to learn about how the hardware abstraction layer works, and you want to learn about all the different rings and the security and the networking and everything like that, and how filter drivers work and all that shit. There's tons of courses like on Udemy. You can probably even take courses through Pluralsight now that'll give you like in-depth knowledge of the operating system. But we live in a time where it's like information's everywhere, right? When people always ask me like, "Hey, where's a good place to go learn about something?" It's like literally everywhere. YouTube's usually the first one, because like YouTube's where I learn shit. I'll be honest, I've even made a video before where it's like I got perplexed by something, and I literally went and watched somebody else's YouTube video to figure it out so that I could present that fact in my video better. So
it's 100%
collective knowledge, man. Collective knowledge.
Oh, I had to say that's something troubling to be. I don't know, not necessarily off topic, but just something that to go off of that is. It's very troubling to me. The lack of desire that I see in the young ones that I interact with to educate themselves in that way. It's very troubling.
You know what? It's kind of like when we were kids, though, and like our grandparents would be like, "Go to the library," and you're like, "The what?" It's like, I think that's just the new generation. It's like they don't realize the internet is the library now. It's like you don't have to go to school to learn anything.
It blows my mind that you don't take advantage. Like, I'll get asked a question, and if I say I don't know, that's the end of it. And so it's like, no, go find out.
It's like you didn't even try to Google it first. Like, come on, at least Google.
It drives me nuts that you could answer any question that you could possibly just about outside of like maybe philosophical questions, but even then, that's a deep dive you could go down.
You'll find 5,000 points of view though. Like you will find enough that it'll wet your whistle. It's
great, and what bothers me though, and I have to temper this because I know that they are still children, and I should not judge them by my own experience, right? Is that like it's a lack of desire to expose themselves to alternative viewpoints. That's the best way I can put it. Like once they find enough supporting evidence for their own like feeling narrative, of the way things should be, that's enough. And that bothers me, and I hope that changes. And again, they're children, so like I shouldn't let it bother me as much as it does. I think
there's a lot of adults that still do that too, but I do understand the view that children seem to be just predisposed to it now. Like if they want to believe something, they just go and gather their little. Well, that's another fault of technology, I think. In our lives is you can use the internet for two different, like there's two fundamental groups of using the internet for education, right? There's actually looking at all the data and trying to draw some kind of scientific conclusion from it. And then there's just searching for the data with whatever you want to believe. So like, I want to believe the earth is flat. So I'm only going to search for flat earth. Therefore, I'm only going to see articles about why the earth is flat. And therefore that justifies your point and you create a feedback loop. You're basically using the internet as your friend feeding you back what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that are like, just look at everything and then draw a conclusion based on everything. Me. So what's that?
I'm guilty of it too, of the echo chamber and
me too, man. Me too.
Feedback loop stuff, but I do try to absorb as much as I possibly can because like it's so freely available, and I don't know, it's awesome. I think it's called opinion bias, something like that, or confirmation bias, something like that, where you're only going to find the stuff that you're looking for, essentially.
Right. The internet will feed you anything.
Yellow cars, I'm going to find nothing but yellow cars.
Yep. Yeah. If you go online, like, and you could actually do a good thought experiment for this. Well, actually, not even a thought experiment because it'd be applied. Is literally pull up like Google or Bing and just come up with the most fucking ridiculous thing that you can think of, even something that you haven't even heard of, and I bet you will find somebody else that has come up with that conspiracy already. You could probably go and Google something that's like the moon is made of cheese, and you will find some fucking like thesis from some PhD LSD strung out professor that's like, this is why the moon is cheese, and I can prove and try to prove me wrong. And then you're gonna be like, shit, I can't really prove you wrong because everything that you've said so far is theoretical, and we don't have enough data to say that what you're saying is wrong. So technically, your theory could, it's not likely, it's not probable, but I can't really prove it wrong. It's like if I told you right now that wormholes exist and that you can travel at warp 13, like Gene Roddenberry got it right. You can travel at fucking warp 13 or whatever. Like, prove me wrong. All you can prove me wrong on is that technology hasn't gotten there yet, right? We don't know. You can say that as of today that is wrong, but I can just sit there and argue all day long. It's like, oh man, I had a dream last night and it's obviously true, and you're just a dumbass. But it's like people do that, and they'll try to push something. Like the whole flat Earth thing's hilarious because like you can go outside and just confirm it, right? It's like go climb up a hill and look at the horizon. Get on an airplane, take a hot air balloon. There are so many different ways that you have seen the curvature of the Earth. To deny it is just to be like willfully ignorant is the way to do it. But the reason that they do it is for attention. I've realized that. It took me a long time because I got so frustrated by it. I'm like, why would somebody work so fucking hard to be in the negative 0.001% of everybody? Like, why would they try so hard? It's controversy, and it's because they want to be in a small group, because if they can convince a small group of people and they all decide to agree on the same thing collectively, then everybody else is wrong and they feel like they're the 1% of brilliant people on the planet. And so it's kind of like their way of feeling like they're intelligent instead of actually going and doing something worthwhile. It's imagination land, dude. It's imagination, bro. The flat Earth thing drove me nuts, though, and the whole film your hospital thing. I was like, my God, like who comes up with this shit and starts these things? Because it started as a joke. It absolutely started as a joke. They all do. Flat Earth, completely a joke. You go back and look at this genesis of it. It's like some fucking thread on 4chan or something, like 20 years ago or 15 years ago. And it just got out of control. People kept running with it. People figured out they could make money off of it because people were like interested in hearing. Even if they didn't agree with it, they were interested in hearing about it because it was entertaining. You look at things like Scientology. How does Scientology exist in a society like today? It's because people want to believe that they have telepathic superpowers and that they are more powerful than everybody else, and they know everything and nobody else knows anything, and they are willing to pay money to be able to say that they have that. And it's crazy what people will fall for. But wait, and a Bitcoin millionaire, but I'm a dumbass? What was that in context to? I wish I was a Bitcoin millionaire. I don't know, what's Bitcoin at right now? I haven't been monitoring the cryptocurrency markets at all. Probably for good reason. Okay, so BTC
68.25.
I mean, that's down. That's definitely down, but it's not. I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Honestly, it looks like it went down less than the stock market did. Here, let's look at it over the last. Let me look at it over the last 5 years. Actually, not too bad, man. Not too bad. Actually, February through March, it did definitely tank in March, but not by a ton.
Right.
And it's on the rebound right now. So, wow, go Bitcoin. A lot of people tell me all the time that they think that cryptocurrency is a scam and it's going away. And I don't think it can. I think at this point, cryptocurrency, in general, I'm not even saying just BTC. I'm just saying as a critical mass, the idea of cryptocurrency has reached every place. It's like the idea is there, so it can never really die. Again, the value is dictated by, it's not dictated by a tangible item. It's dictated by the value that you assign it, right? Bitcoin is only worth as much as you're willing to say it's worth, collectively, as a species. But I don't think it's going away. There's a lot of people that accept it. I know Microsoft still takes Bitcoin. Newegg takes Bitcoin. There's a lot of online vendors that just straight up let you pay in Bitcoin. There's tons of exchanges. Like the Coinbase is the one that I use because it's probably one of the most well known. And and they work with the local governments and everything, and they have taxation and stuff, which a lot of people are like, no, you should have taxation on cryptocurrency. And I actually kind of agree with that. But at the same time, it is a regulated entity to some degree here in the United States, which is what it never should have been. But still, you can't control it. That's the thing that I like about cryptocurrency is it's like a fiat currency you can completely control, especially when we're all using credit cards off bank accounts. It's like your bank tomorrow could just decide that you only get to take out $100 a day. They can literally do that to you, and there's like nothing you can fucking do. You could try to sue them, you could try to get an attorney, and that's going to take time, and you may or may not win. And even if you win, they may still not overdo it. They might pay the fine and just not do it. And that's happening in countries. I think India is one of them. I know we got somebody in here from India, Toothless. Hey, Toothless, have you had any problem getting money out in India? Because I've heard a couple of people tell me now that India is only allowing people to take out like $100 US a week or something like that.
Oh, snap.
Like, even though they have the money, they could be a millionaire. They go to the bank, they can't take out because they're trying to keep the banks from basically collapsing, from everybody like draining them out. And the thoughts crossed my mind. I mean, I thought about going to the bank and just being like, you know what, I'm going to pull out like just half of everything that I have and just store it in my, 700-pound freaking iron vault safe bolted to my floor, and I'm just gonna be my own bank for a while. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, if everybody did that, then the banks are definitely going to freeze, and that's going to hurt me in the long run just as much as everybody else. So,
I mean, yeah, the thing is, like, pulling cash is I mean, if you have it converted to USD, if the United States economy collapses, then your paper is toilet paper,
That's right.
The value of that is purely based on the faith and trust of the United States government. It has no true value beyond the existence of the state. And there's, I can't remember what book it's from. It's probably a Heinlein book or whatever, but he talks about how money that clinks is better than money that shuffles, when he's talking about like buying gold coins and stuff.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, an element is something tangible, right? You might think that money in your hand's tangible, but it's only worth the paper. Like, yeah, if you can make a paper airplane out of it or use it to, like, I don't know, give yourself a paper cut. I don't know, conduct like some rudimentary surgery using a cloth piece of paper.
That's a hard one to get people to understand.
They definitely don't get it.
Has no inherent value of its own. We've all just it's a way of shifting time and effort. It's a representation of time and effort. And like, if I don't want to give you, if I say that this is worth $500, you may not agree, and so then the value of that is subjective. And I don't know, that's a hard one that I've had trouble getting people to understand when it comes to money and economics. That's like basic economics, man. Is like, value is subjective. Like, it is not a solid thing. This potato is worth $10 to me, but to the guy across the street who grows his own potatoes, it's next to worthless.
Right.
That's we're going down a weird path now.
No, I like a weird path. Weird path's good, man. Talking about money is actually, I mean, that's the ultimate technology, right? We wouldn't even be able to have this show if it wasn't for money, right? Everything that we do in life is governed by this like magical value that we have on money. But the thing is you can sort of say that applies to everything, though, because like, hypothetical situation. Let's say I take my money and I cash it out and I fill my vault up with gold, right? Let's say I get gold. Well, the gold is going to be technically more stable and always have some form of value. It'll always have something. But theoretically, if we find out the next day, like, that we can create gold in the lab for like a penny for 1,000 pounds of it, and we just make a machine that can, like, pull fucking electrons out of the air and attach them to lead and turn lead into gold, the whole alchemy thing.
Right.
Let's say that happens, right? Because it's not outside the realm of possibility if you look at science, right? If you can create some kind of fusion or fusion, you can make heavy metals, right? It happens automatically in nuclear cores and shit. So if we found a way to make gold tomorrow, and it was indistinguishable from the gold that you pull from the ground, right? The whole fake diamonds versus real diamonds thing. The value of gold would drop to next to nothing. Your gold would be it'd cost you more to physically move around the gold by weight to sell it than what you would actually get from the gold at that point, if it was just an infinite resource because we just found a shitload of it or we can make it ourselves. Yeah, that's always the fear. Money is very similar to that, where it's like we kind of assign a value to it that everybody agrees on, that's universal across to everybody, and regardless of whether you grow the potatoes or you don't grow the potatoes, everybody's money equals the same, right? That way it's just this open barter system. Everybody can determine what it's worth and trade back and forth with the money. But yeah, tomorrow it's like, if the whole economy crashes or whatever, and you go into like a depression, which actually this would be a good time to talk about recession versus depression.
Yep.
Once that money goes down to value, it's like, it doesn't matter if you have $100,000. It's like we could eventually get to a point where it's like $100,000 like buys you rent for 2 months or a month, or $100,000 is enough to buy groceries for a week. It's like that can actually happen. And when that happens, like, there's not a lot of people that are going to be able to afford groceries, and everybody that's making the groceries, they're going to have to pay. The reason we have to pay $100,000 is because they're having to pay $50,000 to make it now. So now,
Yep.
everything gets hyper inflated. And once that happens, like, it's like,
can.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Millionaires become poor overnight.
Yeah.
And that can happen. That actually is
Venezuela,
something that
yeah.
absolutely can happen.
Oh yeah. Look at kind of where we're at the very moment. The Feds just decided to create what, $2 trillion or something,
Pretty much.
just out of nowhere.
Well, not out of nowhere. I mean, it came out of a printer somewhere.
Well, you know what I mean. But the
I know,
value,
it's fucking with you.
comes from where? Like,
Imagination
yeah,
land.
it's just that's really the core of it all. Anyway, is imagination and
It is.
or faith or whatever you want to call it, trust. But it's all value exchange. Like, to kind of go back to the kind of the basis of it all is like right now there is a value exchange happening between you, me, and the audience. It isn't money necessarily, but we're all spending the only currency we really all have is time, and in exchange for some value. You guys, the audience, is getting entertainment. We're having a good, you and I are having a good time, and so there's a value exchange happening there. It's just not money value, right? But that's why I like pushing on the fact that, like, that's the most worthwhile thing is the audience watching. Is the spending of your time here is super valuable. You guys could be doing anything else.
Yeah, your attention is a currency, right? Attention
It's
currency
huge.
is a big deal.
That's the biggest, the most valuable commodity any of us have is our time and attention, and where we choose to spend it. Whether and it goes into all kinds of different ways. You can choose to spend your time, the value of your time, improving yourself, learning and growing in a mental and philosophical sort of way. You can use that time and value to interact with your friends and family, and there's value there. And so that's the constant protect that value. To when you start thinking about man, I'm exchanging 8 hours of my life or 1 hour of my life for X dollars.
That's a crazy way to look at it, man.
The fuck. When you look at,
I love it.
You look at $1,000 cell phone, break that down into how many hours you have to work to purchase that. That's the real value exchange. How much time are you spending to earn that?
I think my phone disappeared.
And that's huge. That's people tend to forget that's the real exchange that's happening. Is you're spending minutes and hours of your life in exchange for those things.
Dude, that's crazy. Like, here, you know what? I'm gonna run a quick calculation here. So I've never really looked at it, and I've kind of looked in that like your service, right? Your time that you give to somebody, whether it be to talk to them about something or really anything, right? Even the time that you're sleeping, it's like those are all billable hours of value, right? It's like if you choose to go to sleep late and stay up 2 extra hours to play Modern Warfare with somebody, it's like you contributed to their life, and even if it's a minuscule amount, it's like your interactions contributed to somebody or something. So it's like, what is your life worth? So if you lived, let's just go on the high side, say like 100 years, right? So if we did like 100 years, let's do this. So 365 times 100, let's say roughly, that'd be only 36,500 days? That's all we live? That doesn't sound like a lot, bro. That really doesn't sound like, I was expecting a lot more than that.
36,000 days?
If you live 100 years, that's 36,500 days roughly.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound like a lot at all. So now let's say what's your
what's 1/3 of that? Because that's 8 hours a day.
Yep. So let's do that. So
1/3.
24,333 days.
All right. So that's how much of your this is napkin math because technically you're not starting work until you're about 15 or 16. And so that's a couple thousand days.
Well, let's not even say work. Let's just say while you're awake, you're giving value to somebody. Even if you're just blowing your time, you're giving value to yourself.
Exchange.
So
then let's put it at 12 hours a day because
12
work
hours a day.
and recreation. We'll say work and recreation.
Okay, so Okay, that sounds about right. So 12 hours a day, that would put us at, okay, again, to the 24,333 days. And how much are you worth a day? Like, would you say, let's say if you worked the entire 12 hours and you made minimum wage, how much would that be? Like, what's minimum wage right now?
Federal minimum or
let's
the
say,
state minimum?
No, let's say federal minimum.
Federal minimum is 7.25.
7.25. Okay, so let's. I'm curious what this works out to. So, let's see here. Times 7.25. So that means at minimum wage, if you work 12 hours a day your entire life from the morning you're born and you only don't have value while you're sleeping, your entire life is only worth $176,416.
At federal minimum
at federal minimum wage. So your entire life from the moment you're born, if you could pop out of that vagina and just start working, you were worth 100. That is terrible. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna fight harder for higher minimum wages. That's fucking terrible. Even if you doubled that, right? That's 352,000. You can't even buy a house. No wonder people can't fucking ever buy a house. You couldn't 352,000 for your entire life.
Yeah, there's plenty of times. There's plenty of times where
it doesn't, Lumen, but it is.
You can see where, there's plenty of articles and stuff out there that show like, oh, how many hours would you need to work to afford, a 1-bedroom apartment in Seattle, Austin, Miami, whatever.
Yep. So you know what my entire life would be worth if I worked from the moment I came out and I got paid the highest wage, not including bonuses or anything, but the highest wage I did for Microsoft.
How much?
I'd be worth $6.25 million. Woo! Yeah, see, there's some money you can talk about, but you also have to calculate that if you probably don't work until you're at least 18, so take 18 years off that, right? Yeah, and then you're going to retire at some point, so the last 20 years you're going to need to consume that money rather than make it. Yeah. So even if you consume that all in, let's say your entire life is only worth $2 or $3 million. That still does not sound like a lot in a modern society. Like, if you spread that over the course of like 50 years, that's not a lot at all. Like, even if I divided this, here, let's see. Let's divide this by 30 years.
And there are
208,000 a year.
208,000 a year.
208,000 a year if I work 30 years.
I could live very, very comfortably on that. And see, that kind of swings us back around to like where we were earlier near the beginning. Is like, man, that 208K to some is like, Jesus, I can't afford it. I can't live on that. But then there are gobs of people who would shit for half that, for a quarter of that. Well,
it's like right now. So check this out. So I did a really quick just estimate, and this is total bullshit estimate, right? If we lived 100 years and we did Tech Talk from the moment we were born 4 times a month, okay? Mm-hmm. So if we did and we made the same as like right now we have $93 in super chats, okay, for the course of the show. Yeah. So if we did Tech Talk 4 times a month from the moment we were born to our 100th birthday, we would have made a total, and we have to divide this, right? Because the total would be $446,000. Each one of us $223,000 for 100 years of doing Tech Talk.
That's nuts.
It's the current super chat.
These kind of things are fun, though. I love these kinds of numbers.
It's weird when you look at it, though, because like I didn't think like, dude, 30-some thousand days, like that's it. That doesn't sound like a lot. Like days go by fast. It really doesn't sound like a lot. Like when I saw that number, I was expecting to be alive for like, I don't know, the dumb math in my head was like, oh, I'll be alive for like 100,000 days. It doesn't sound like a lot when you think that every day is a countdown from 35,000, and that's a high estimate. That's 100. I don't think I'm going to live to be like 70. So it's like, my God, when you look at it that way, it's like all of a sudden life seems like it has a little bit more value, doesn't it?
Good, and it should.
It absolutely should.
Think about that when you are pissed off at somebody or when somebody does something that you don't appreciate or you see something crazy on the news, and think about your circles of influence. For one, how does this really affect me? And is it worth the valuable time, the very limited valuable time that I have? Is it worth wasting it, throwing it down the fucking tube to be upset, to be right? These people, like, so much time and effort is wasted on caring about what other people think of you, when it's like, who gives a fuck, man? As long as I'm happy and I'm not ruining anybody else's happiness, I'm gold.
Dude, I just got a really good idea based on that theory for an application. So what we need is you need an application that's literally an upward counting death clock, and where you assign a value to yourself. You basically say, this is what my time is worth. Like, sit down and arbitrarily work out what your time's worth for various things. Like, how much is it worth for me to eat food? How much is it worth for me to talk to somebody? How much is it worth for me to actually get something tangible done? How much is it worth for me to make something that makes money back, that potentially, you know, zeroes itself out and becomes a positive sum against that? And you literally have a living spreadsheet where it's like every time you do something, like you go take a crap, you go enter it in and be like, I took 15 minutes taking that shit today. And it would give you a spreadsheet itemizing and showing you the cost of every one of your activities throughout the day. And then have like a weekly and a monthly and a yearly report that's like, dude, I $12,000 in shitting this year. Like the time I spent on the toilet taking a shit, like if I just cut that down by like this much and use this much less toilet paper, I'll save like $300 a year.
Which like, I mean, as I've done similar things, just like, on a much smaller scale. As an example, I've run Uber Eats deliveries 3 nights last week, I think, or two weeks back. No, I think it was last week. Not this week that we've ended, but the previous week. 3 nights, about 2.5 hours per night. I made $200.
Wow.
In what, 7.5 hours, right? Two and a half is 5, and another 2.5, 7.5 hours. So in just shy of an 8-hour, what would have been an 8-hour workday spread across 3 days, I made $200.
So about $28 an hour. That's a pretty fucking sweet wage, man.
Just for basically driving around. I had my physical effort was incredibly minimal. I mean,
plus people are happy, right? That's a service where people are happy. It's like you are bringing them food at a time when they need food. So you're not gonna. I mean, you're always gonna have an asshole somewhere. But the likelihood of the person opening that door and being like, "Oh, you piece of shit, fuck you didn't bring extra mustard or something like that," it's like not your fault. You're just delivering the food, right?
No.
So
and that was at least half of that was just tips.
Dude.
Yeah.
Grateful people are nice. I mean, we operate this entire show on tips, so it's like we understand the value of a tip. Absolutely.
And so it was pretty cool. What about petrol? Oh yeah. So if you take into account my gas expenditures, which hell, on the high end, let's say a full tank of gas cost me $35. So I made $165 if you don't count the gas.
That's still going to be over $20 an hour, so that's still pretty
really,
damn good.
really good. And I spend gas to go to my day job, my 9 to 5, right? You know, so it's pretty cool.
And while you're driving, you're not having to deal with anybody. You're able to listen to your own music. You're in your own space. You can make your own rules. You can just yell the word cock 75 times if you want to, and nobody cares. So there's a lot of benefits to like you factor that in right into your value. Would you rather make $30 having a boss micromanage you and shit all over you? Or would you rather make $25 an hour where you get to make all the rules and do everything? It's like, those are things I don't think people really think about. And to be honest, I don't even think about all the time. It's like somebody might take a job. Let's say you have a job where you make $60,000 a year. And you can live off $60,000 a year, but it's a little tough. You don't have everything you want. You don't have the cars. You don't have the boats. You don't have the house. Now let's say that you get offered a job for $250,000 and you're like, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and go do that other job. But that other job consumes all your time. You never can do anything you want. You can never enjoy anything you want. And then you make $250,000. You buy the car of your dreams. You buy the house of your dreams, but you never have a fucking moment to enjoy it. Was that a good decision? I don't think so.
Man,
because people ask me all the time why I don't go back to like a development job. It's like, I don't want to sit behind a desk for fucking 12 hours a day with a manager yelling at me and shit. I mean, Microsoft was like, everything's go, go, go. Time is money. Time is money. Time is money. Getting called in the middle of the night. Oh shit, infrastructure's down. We got to get the shit up immediately. Jump on Raz. If Raz doesn't work, get in your car and drive your ass here and stay here all night. Was it worth it for like $300,000 a year? Like, sometimes yes, but no. Most of the times no. Like, I would rather make an eighth of that. Yeah, and be able to own my own life.
That's a huge thing, man, and that it's actually been kind of coming into my head recently, like with being at home and doing my job and kind of having my job like right there with me all the time has got me really thinking about again. So just in case like my boss is watching or anything like that, I'm not at all trying to complain about my work. And I'm not just saying that to cover my ass. I enjoy my work. I know you do. People I work with. I love what I do.
I love your work and I don't even work there.
It does have me thinking about like, man, what do I really want to do for the next 30 years? till I'm 65. Well, I turned 64, or I turned 34 this year. So yeah, for the next 30 years, what do I really want to do? What could I keep doing beyond those 30 years and still love it every single day? And I don't quite have an answer to that.
It's not an easy one to answer.
But in the moment, I like what I'm doing, and that's okay for now. So, but
and
I definitely,
no
it's definitely something that's in my head about thinking about, like, is it something that I could continue to do for, a long, long time? And I think everybody ought to do that too. And people will say, oh, well, you could, open your own business. Brahim Keter here is saying, oh, opening your own business is the best thing you can do. Not everybody's cut out for that. Not everybody wants to run their own business.
I want to point something out really quick before, that's in mind, is keep in mind that the hardest hit businesses during this whole random Corona pandemic that just happened out of the blue that nobody expected, has killed more small businesses than probably anything, any recession or anything. I mean, it's like 13 million people now are on unemployment, and a large percentage of those are people that closed the doors on their businesses. And not only did they lose their job of owning the business, they also lost all their employees' jobs that they were employing. Not through any fault of their own, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you think running your own business is controlling your destiny, to some degrees it is, to other degrees it absolutely is not. Trust me, I've been running my own business for about 6 years now. I'm a registered S Corp with the United States, and it is a pain in the balls. Running your own business is a pain. And I have like the best business in the world because I don't really have anything tangible, right? Everything with me is a service-based transaction. I don't have to have inventory and stuff. Yeah, it's like Merch Minion makes the stuff to order. If you want to buy my Windows 10 We're Watching shirt, it's over on Merch Minion. They take care of all that. It's like, I don't have to store that. But if I was a clothing business like Merch Minion, it's like, I do have to store clothes. I do have to store ink. I do have to have the expensive printers to maintain it and the computers to do the graphics and stuff like that and the print the stuff and all the equipment needed for like mailing the boxes and stuff. That shit gets hard. So I'm not discouraging anybody from like creating your own business, but don't think because you run your own business that somehow you're just going to be successful. It is a rough road, man. Yeah. Especially in the United States.
I would definitely say, especially in this moment, now is the time to genuinely look at trying to make even just a little bit of extra money on the side doing your hobbies, the things, or maybe not your hobbies, because like I know there's some people who say like, oh, turning your hobby into a job is stupid and you're going to end up hating it or whatever, but like there's money to be made on the side. Writing a blog, blog or a video blog or something about whatever it is you're cool with. Like, man, if you're the fucking expert on, I don't fucking know, jam or painting your nails. Or,
you don't have to be an expert. You can literally just have an interesting point of view. Like your personality sells.
Hell, I'm not a fucking expert on computer shit. I just like putting them together, and people loved watching me do that.
People would just watch for your beard, man. Your beard could have its own YouTube channel where you just cut it off at the nose and it's just your mouth going, today we're going to talk about bridges. It's like, and the people would be like, fucking, you'd have 1 million subs.
Yeah, man. What's popping? I make deep fakes on Fiverr. Boom. There you go. That's great. But I definitely think that if it's something that think about one of those things, one of those topics that you talk about at ad nauseum. Like to the fact that nobody even wants to hear you anymore. The people around you just are sick and tired of hearing you talk about jars or fucking whatever your cool thing is. Go talk about it on the internet. You can make you can make money on the side doing that.
Go create a podcast. Hell, that's what what's that app where it's Anchor? Is it Anchor?
Anchor.
Yeah, go install Anchor and just sit there and talk into your microphone about like fucking if you have conspiracy theories or some shit, like whatever. Put that shit up there, put a fancy thumbnail on it, and people will listen to it on Spotify. It'll pop up randomly in somebody's box sometime, and they'll listen to it and they'll either like it or they won't like it, but if they like it, you know what? They're probably gonna want another one. And then and the cool thing about that platform is you can just create an advertisement for them. Like they're their own advertiser, so they don't pay a ton of money. You're not going to get rich doing it, but you make a couple bucks on the side, and you never know if you end up having something that goes syndicated or catches a lot of momentum. It happens, right?
Yeah.
If you have a breakthrough thing.
I'd say there's three angles because maybe the podcast route isn't quite right. Well, I think it really kind of boils down.
Depends on the person, though.
You're either a good writer, which means blogs and that sort of thing. You type it out like a journal or whatever, or video, which also covers audio because maybe you don't like being in front of a camera, but you can talk really well. I would still recommend that you record yourself on video and then just strip the audio out if you really genuinely don't like aren't comfortable in front of the camera. I would still recommend that you do that anyway, just as another avenue. But man.
Nathan said Jerry's new haircut is giving me Hobbs doppelganger vibes. It is kind of a Hobbs haircut, isn't it?
It is.
I just noticed that. Funny. I got the cue ball going on. I'm starting to wonder if Hobbs cuts his own hair. I think we've figured out a mystery.
I suggest it, but I wouldn't ever judge anybody for not. Like these are tough times.
Yeah, dude.
And maybe like I haven't streamed on my personal channel. I haven't streamed video games since the third week of March because like man, my heart's just not in it. I know how that feels. It's partly and I'll admit this freely that it's partly because I'm not making enough money playing video games to support what I really want to do, which is building PCs. Like I said, I'm making more money running Uber Eats the same 2.5 hours that I'd be streaming video games. I made more money in one night of running Uber Eats than my whole Twitch revenue for the last month plus. And so I've had to make a shift. I'm going to do that more so that I can put more effort into the content that I really genuinely want to produce. Like it's fun playing games and I love chit-chatting with you guys and stuff and it's all fun in games and stuff. It's great. But I really, really, really do want to make a genuine, if I honest to goodness, if I really, really could, I would stream PC builds all the time. I think that would be the thing that brings me the most joy in the whole world. And I highly recommend. And the whole point of all of this, we kind of rambled on a little bit, but the whole point of that is like, now if you genuinely have the time and you really want to, do try and beef up your ability to do the things you love the most and make money at them.
Yeah.
This is a good time to do it.
Well, money is the universal thing where you can convert money into just about anything. Like anything tangible or service oriented, right? So if you can do something to make money, then you can turn around and use that money to do something that entertains you, right? That's the whole system of time, right? Is you do something to earn it, and then you do something to give it to somebody else so that they'll do something for you, and the money just round robins through the system and recycles over and over and over again. Hey, we got some super chats here. Dave, sorry it's taking me so long, guys. The super chats, thank you for the £5 from Dave 091122. He said, funny how I asked you whether you or Jay would do Tech Talk, and you said no way, but then you do a live show together. Hope all is good with you. That live show wasn't Tech Talk, and there was topics that were off limits during that show that were agreed upon before, but I had a good time. It was a good time. It was a good show. Jay and I no longer follow each other on social media, though, because we finally hit that point where our opinions differ enough on things that, couldn't take it. So, really? Yeah, he unfollowed me, so I just unfollowed him because I was like, all he really does is like engage himself in like things that I say in a negative. He never really engages on the stuff that I talk about that's like positive or anything like that. So it was just becoming one of those things where I think it was toxic to the friendship. So we both made a call.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's totally cool. It doesn't mean we're not going to stream again either. But I had a lot of fun doing that stream. I don't know if I want to get drunk again for a while though, because that kind of fuckered me up a little bit. Let's see here. Douglas Pocknet Jr. Thank you for the $10 super chat. He said, "This is for you guys who have been helping me get through this time. I'm an essential worker at Target, dude. I appreciate you. Everybody that's working right now, like they keep things going and keep the cogs turning. I appreciate you guys so much." He said, "I go through highs and lows of emotions, but your live streams have helped me wind down. So thank you." And you know what? That's it. The thing is one thing I like about live streaming. The reason people ask me like why I haven't put up a YouTube video in a long time, and the truth is, making a YouTube video is a very solitary thing. It is like you are sitting by yourself with a camera, talking to yourself for hours to edit it down to like 10 minutes of footage. Like I don't think I've ever shot a video before where I shot video for under 2 hours to produce, not 2 hours of video, but like setting up things, moving cameras around, getting stuff going. 2 hours up to like say 12 hours to shoot a video before you even edit it. Then the editing process is not only hugely solitary stuff, but you have to listen to yourself repetitively over and over and over again. And that's though it can be fun to some degree, it also becomes annoying. So I like live streaming, and the reason I've really attached to live streaming is because there's a constant dialogue between me and a bunch of other people. I never feel lonely. Even like Houston, even when you're not here, like even on just doing a Twitch thing, it's like you have an audience. These people are talking back and forth to you, so you feel like you're having an interaction. And when you can type really fast and you can talk really fast and do all this stuff, it's not that dissimilar from having people in the room with me in person. Like my brain deals with it much the same. Like the emotional connections I bond, all that stuff. I live in the age of technology, so all that stuff kind of grew into me with the internet. That sounds a little bad. Grew into me, but
I feel the same.
Right? So I love
like the interaction.
So I love it. And the thing is Twitch is a good source of revenue for me. You know, it's helped me and my family. YouTube is technically, if I do sponsorships and all that stuff and pre-rolls like everybody else does, it would technically be more lucrative, but again, it'd be a very solitary venture. So I have to factor it into the amount of money I'm going to make, right? If I do YouTube, even if I make 3 times as much as I do on Twitch, if everything is just me doing solitary videos and editing all day and just being by myself and having no human interaction, I would rather lose 2/3 of that income and have that interaction to be able to have a better life experience overall, like a more uplifting experience. That being said, though, I do love storytelling, so I will be back to YouTube. I absolutely will. The biggest reason that I haven't been doing it is just because everything's so messy and I don't know where any of my shit is. I like my camera. It's like I got half a camera here. I don't even know where the other half of it is. I don't know where the battery is. Like everything is buried. So once I unbury all that, then maybe we'll be in a little bit better shape. There's a couple. Hold on. There's a couple more things here. Acid Burns. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He said, "Big question: who benefits from this pandemic?" A lot of people do, actually.
Yeah,
a lot of people. So let's see. The biggest, the people that are probably going to benefit the most, unfortunately, pharmaceutical companies are going to benefit huge from this. Anybody that's working on any kind of technology that allows you to work from home, they're going to benefit huge from this. Companies like Zoom, obviously, and things, video conferencing platforms, live streaming platforms, they're all going to make money hand over fist. Let's see. Who else would benefit from this pandemic? Off the top of my head, you got anything?
I don't know, the lizard people who control the New World Order.
Definitely. Illuminati. Yep. Yeah, all the way. Yeah. All the way. So, but there are people that obviously benefit. There always is. It doesn't matter. Even if there's a war going on, the bloodiest war in history, there's always people that will capitalize and make money off of suffering, whether it be intentionally or unintentionally. And I'm not faulting people. Like, this is the other thing I think that needs to be said is you can't fault somebody for making more money than they did before because there's a higher demand on their product or service because of a pandemic or something like this happening. You can't fault them for that. However, you can fault them for trying to profiteer off of it by like raising prices and doing stuff like that. I have no problem with people. I want to make this clear. Like somebody got really mad the other day on Twitter at a company that wasn't just giving their product away for free. And it's like, you have to realize this company still has to manufacture this product. They have a workforce. You know, like 3M, for instance, right? 3M might be able to donate some equipment, but they can't donate all the equipment in the world. They can't make 30 million masks a month and just give it away for free. They'd never survive that, and all their employees would lose their jobs. They'd lose the company, and that entire lineage and everything that 3M's done for the country, gone. Poof. Right. So I have no problem with them selling their shit. What I have a problem with is when the company's like, you know what? We're going to raise the prices of shit when we are making and selling more stuff than we ever have in our history, which means we're more profitable. Like, we could actually even lower the prices a little bit and still be just as profitable. But they choose to up their prices dramatically. And that's like like pharmaceutical companies are really well known for that. Like when the demand goes up on a drug, instead of meeting the demand, they just raise the price of it by like 7,000%. And then the same amount that they're making right now, people need it. If you have to have it to survive, and PPE stuff like masks and stuff like that for critical medical workers and stuff, that is a life and death decision. That is survival. That is their condom, and they're going into an STD ridden whorehouse. That's we're trying to get as demonetized as humanly possible today. But to all the more reasons why we need your super chats. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. There are people that can profiteer from this. There are people that are going to make money from it. But you also have to draw that conclusion that it's okay for companies to grow and expand and make money during this time. That don't shame them for that. Shame them if they decide to profiteer off of it by raising the price of their goods and intentionally doing things to make the pandemic basically fleece people for more money during a time when they have less of it. So there are companies like that, though. What was the company the other day? Shapeways. Sure. Shapeways pissed me off. Did you see that shit? So, okay, Shapeways is making personal protection equipment. So, like, these are the visors, right? Like, Shapeways basically took a visor. This normally has, like, a sheet of plastic translucent film. These little things cost probably, if I had to guess, maybe 15 cents in material to print that. So, for me to print that on a desktop 3D printer, that's not... Commercially, you can make it way cheaper. If you did injection molding, you could probably make this for less than a penny or two. So this right here, Shapeways is basically making a little bit more complicated version of this, with a plastic shield, and they're literally selling it to hospitals. Well, they're not, so they're taking donations from the public, and then they're making this and giving it to hospitals, but the donations that they're taking in, they're only producing one mask for $40. So they are taking
$40.
something that costs them, maybe with the full labor, paying the person to run the machine, the material cost and everything. Let's give them the total high side. Let's say it takes them $5 to make that mask. And that's ridiculous. There's no fucking way. Let's say it costs them $5 to make that mask. $40? That is the hugest fucking markup ever.
Nuts.
I could literally build I could go buy a 3M respirator with like dual carbon filters and a face shield on it for less than $40 full retail off the shelf from like a Home Depot. And they're going to charge $40 for a basically glorified piece of plastic with another piece of plastic snapped onto it. It's disgusting. So that really pissed me off. We're still waiting to hear back from them too. They haven't replied to any of the media outlets going, wait a second, guys. And it doesn't make it any more right. Yeah, they're giving it to the hospital, but if they're charging the people donating $40, that means they're only making one mask for every $40 that's given to them. Those people could easily give that $40 to the maker community, and that $40 would make probably 30 masks for the cost of that one. So that shit pisses me off. Like, companies that do that are killing their reputations, and once people find out, it's like game over. So people need to like think before they do that shit. Hold on, we got a couple more super chats here. Doug, is it? Sure. Oh, sorry, Acid Burns. I think I already got you. Yeah. Douglas Pocknet Jr. Thank you. Another junior. I'm a junior, by the way, if you didn't know. My dad is also a Jerry Berg. Hey, thank you for the $10. He said, this is for you guys who've helped me get through this rough time. Oh, he's the essential worker. I already read that one. But thank you, Douglas. We do appreciate it. If you are going to work and you are a medical worker, you are a grocery store worker, you are a pharmacy worker, any of those things, you're my hero. You're my hero because I don't care if you're a surgeon that's like, walking around the hospital, or you're the person at Safeway. You are at the same risk of getting infected. As a matter of fact, you may even be at more risk in a place like Safeway because you don't know, things haven't been assessed that are coming in, and you don't have that personal protective equipment. So it's like, I want to make sure that those people know that, even though I know they don't want to be there. I love that mask, dude. That's sweet. Is that one of the Twitch scarves that you converted? Dude, that's fucking awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, Christopher Dela Cruz, thank you for that $10, man. He said, keep it up, Houston and Jerry. Good content. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the show. We quite enjoy doing this. This is something I look forward to every week because I get to hang out with one of my favorite human beings on earth, and he actually likes being here. See, that's the difference. Tech Talk is so much better when you have a co-host that wants to be there. It is the most amazing thing ever. Let's see what I got here. Tim said, Logan Paul, I know where this is going. Logan Paul is giving away fabric masks away for free. Not sure how much to trust them, but he stopped all production on his other merch to make the masks. I would not believe a fucking thing Logan Paul said at this point. That dude is
the cooler of the two Paul brothers. Like, he's the boxer, right?
He's the boxer.
Paul the boxer.
He's the boxer,
he seems to have done better with his life than the younger one. Like, his podcast actually seems pretty legit.
To be fair, I haven't seen anything he's done lately, but here's my sum up of Logan Paul. It's like the dude thought it was a good idea to like videotape a hanging corpse in the woods in Japan. So that kind of like
that was Jake.
No, that wasn't Jake. No, that was Logan.
One.
That was 100% Logan. Yeah,
that is kind of shitty.
But Jake is the one that fucking pushes the loot boxes or whatever, and like, oh my god, look, I got a fucking $10,000 laptop from a $100 loot box. Go to the site and buy these loot boxes. When he like never ever used the site. It was like a prop site. He pushes a lot of that shit. But here's the thing, Logan Paul. I will give Logan Paul the benefit of the doubt, and if he is legitimately making those masks and he is not profiting from them, and he is not somehow creating some fucking big merch advertisement to sell millions of dollars of his own merch. Right. Credit to him. I'll give him credit all day long. I don't care how bad of a person you are. If you're helping the war effort, rock on, dude. You were fucking awesome. But just keep in mind that Logan Paul is also a personality that has made more than 100 bad decisions. And he does shit like he got banned from Japan because he was running around and mocking people on the street and being intentionally disrespectful for videos. And that's in addition to him going to the suicide forest and videotaping somebody's like dead relative hanging from a tree and thinking that's okay. And he tends to get caught up in a lot of controversy. And the thing is, I don't really know if, and this is the thing I feel bad about, is I kind of feel like he's a childhood star of the internet. Kind of like, how Disney takes like these kids and they raise them and then they don't have any values because they were never exposed to any values. And they're given a false sense of they're the center of the world and everybody else puts them there. So at the same time, just like we were talking about last week, it's kind of like blame the parents on that one. But at the same time, it's like he does have to be held accountable for what he does. But if he's doing good things, props to him. I don't know enough about it. I haven't looked into it. But if he is legitimately making masks and giving them away for free and there isn't some fucking snag or some kind of angle on that, then full credit, man. Full credit. But it is kind of weird that he's boxing people now. Didn't he just He boxed another
Oh.
YouTuber. Was it like it wasn't T Series. Who the hell was it that he boxed?
No, I can't remember. But
it was another big
Maple
YouTuber.
Syrup Mods and I, we watched it at the PDX Land last time. It was a good fight. Like, I'm not a big fan of boxing.
Dude,
or anything,
he's built like a brick
decent
shithouse. Like Logan is
They both legit trained to be, and like I know at least. Well, yeah, they both are KSI. That's who it was.
KSI. Yep.
They both like took it super serious. They both like are registered boxers. They took it super serious. They both like joined the league or whatever the heck it is, in order to do that fight, like for realsies. And which props to both of those guys. I thought it was a pretty decent fight.
It's crazy how big he got though, dude. Like Logan Paul, like legitimately fucking bulked up.
Sure.
And plus, he was in that movie. What was it? And a lot of people hated on the movie. I actually thought The Thinning. Have you seen The Thinning on Netflix? I think there might be two of them, but I watched the first one, The Thinning. It was a movie that he was in that they did for Netflix, where it's basically like, it's kind of like Hunger Games in a way, but basically the idea is only the smartest get to survive because there's limited resources, and the dumb kid, you take a test, and if you fail the test, you basically get killed. Like, you get killed. But there's a big, I don't want to ruin it if anybody wants to watch it, but there is a big twist to it. And I believe there's two of them. There's the first one is like all predicated on taking the test, and the second one is like what happens after you take the test and fail. So it's like the two movies are together and kind of show that. I actually thought they were decent movies. Like they're definitely B movies. They're not movies you'd see in the theater, but I thought that they were pretty good. And I thought Logan Paul's performance was actually, especially for somebody who's just a YouTuber, I thought he actually did a pretty valiant effort of pulling off the character that he was portraying. And he actually portrays like a good guy, which is like, so beyond like his normal persona, So, and he did embellish in it and stuff. And definitely, you could tell he was involved in the production of the movie because he did shine himself in a way more positive light than he should have. However, it wasn't a terrible movie, and people shit on it because of how bad of a person he is. And I was ready to do that myself until I watched it. And I was like, you know what? This actually isn't that terrible of a movie. The story is somewhat compelling. I watched it from the beginning to the end, which a lot of movies I can't even do that. Like my ADHD just checks me out. But he was pretty big in that movie, too. So I think he was bulking up. When he did that movie, and this is years ago, he was already, like, bulking up. But I go back and look at his old videos where he was just, like, this string bean. He was not a big dude. And it's like, he is properly, like, his neck was, like his neck is, like, lined up with his cheekbones. The dude is just freaking ripped going into that fight. But he got his ass kicked, didn't he? I never watched the fight. Didn't KSI fuck him up pretty good?
I understand the first fight they had, it definitely was heavy on KSI. The second one around, I think he won. I don't recall.
Did he really? Let me see here. I gotta find this out.
But it was a pretty even fight. The one that I watched with Maple Syrup Mods, it was a good fight, I thought. I don't have a lot of experience watching boxing or anything, so maybe not.
Dude, he is legit fucking ripped, man. Like, I could see him being good at boxing. Wow. Yeah, okay. I'm looking at pictures, so I can't pop it. I'm just
seemed pretty even. I recall Logan was dropping some pretty good hits. Like, it seemed like he was connecting more often.
He has more reach than KSI. KSI looks like he's quite a bit shorter than he is. But hey, we learned that from Mike Tyson, right? Long arms are good in boxing, right? But if you know how to do a tight jab, a close into the body jab, those short arms, those little T-Rex arms, man, they help you just like tear your opponent apart. I mean, that was Mike Tyson's claim to fame. That dude could come in and just like pulverize a body because his arms were like short, but they were like this big around. So he could come in and do those tight. What are they called? Like a hook. He could do those hooks to the body where he'd get in really, really close, and it's like he'd do like legitimate crippling damage, just body punching. And then if that didn't work, he'd bite their ear off.
Okay, so all right. So KSI did win the second one. The first one, I guess, was a tie. Okay.
Yeah, KSI is actually quite a bit shorter. He's a full probably a full inch shorter than Logan Paul. Definitely not as much reach. I mean, I'm looking at the pictures right now of them boxing. He definitely does not have the reach Logan does. But damn. Okay, I might have to go watch this fight because Logan actually looks like he's actually looks like he's decent. Like his form's good. I got a picture of him catching KSI in the jaw, and oh my god, dude! Like rearranging the dude's face. Oh.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was, if I remember, that was like the highlight of his side of things.
Yeah, KSI though, I want to see him fight because he's properly ripped. They're both properly ripped, but I would say just looking at him that Logan definitely has more muscle on him. But KSI being a little bit smaller, that can be a huge advantage if the person you're boxing lets you in close. That can be a huge advantage. And these aren't like super professional boxers. So right, they're not going to know how to hold their opponent like at arm's length really really good. So I'm sure there's plenty of opportunities for KSI just to get in there and just fucking bludgeon him. Not that I'm a boxing expert or anything, but that was one of the few sports that I actually did do when I was younger. Is on I'd go to the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard and glove up and box with the enlisted guys on the base. Yeah. They'd come in and, you know, they'd put on the head guard and, you know, put on like 16-pound gloves, giant pillow gloves on me, and then they would just pummel the shit out of me when I was like 15 years old. And it was fun because every once in a while, you know, you get a shot in. Doesn't matter how bad you suck, you'd get a shot in, and, you know, they'd be really amped up about it. They'd be like, oh man, this is like a little 15-year-old ever fucking busted me in the chops. This is awesome, you know, and they thought it was fun. And I had a good time doing it. I had a good time, but I can tell you right now, there's a couple misconceptions most people have that I can put to rest right now. That headgear that you're wearing, it protects you for the most part against getting a concussion, but it still fucking hurts bad when you get clocked in the head. Like even with the I had a full face mask on, dude, and even a hit to the side of the head, it would jack your neck and your shoulder up so bad. Like, and I'm sure these guys weren't like going full aggro on me. Like when we were sparring, we weren't like full on. Like they didn't get in there. It was like ding ding ding, let's fucking pummel this 15-year-old kid. So they were, and it still hurt pretty bad. I'd have bruises and shit on my shoulders, and my neck would be all tight. Like I felt like I had whiplash from getting like just socked in the side of the head and getting hit in the face, even with like a 14-pound glove. My God, dude, wow. It's brutal. Like if a lot of people are like, oh man, they got these soft gloves on it, like it's not gonna hurt. And then boxers like KSI and shit, they're wearing what, like 8-ounce gloves or something? They're wearing like really like
regular,
yeah, for regular boxing.
I think they're 14. They're hefty.
Okay, I know I wore I think I wore a 16-pound glove because they were really pillowy. It's the ones that I wore when I was in the ring, and they also help you to guard because they're so big.
That's a full pound.
Yeah.
So it says boxing gloves weights between 8, 10, or 12, depending on the type of fight. Yeah. Because
the smaller the weight, the harder the hit, because the bone, right? You don't have so much padding. Like even a heavier weight glove is going to have more padding in it.
You got to think it's not just the padding; it's the weight, like it's mass, and so those like it's different to get hit by like thin 4-ounce like MMA gloves.
Yep.
The impact isn't like it might be a more dense hit, but it doesn't weigh as much. So like I would think getting hit by a big 12-ounce glove, bam, is gonna rock you more than getting hit by like a thinner MMA glove. In my opinion, I think your brain's gonna bounce around a lot more. Like imagine getting hit by a pickup truck versus a sports car, right?
Yeah,
going the same speed. The pickup truck's gonna do a heck of a lot more damage because it's bigger. And heavier.
It's technically heavier, but it's heavier because of how much fill it has between your knuckles and the padding. Yeah. So like on a 16-ounce glove, it's gonna be like this. So when you impact something, yeah, you'll be able to transfer more force into it slower, but you're not gonna hit with the knuckles. You're not gonna break bone. With an 8-ounce glove, you could fracture or break a bone. You're not gonna. I don't care if you're Mike Tyson. You're not gonna break a bone with a 16-ounce glove on.
No. But the guy you're hitting is gonna be like rocked a lot worse.
I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go look this up again because I know the lighter gloves suck. Because really? I've boxed my friend because my friend does Greco-Roman jiu-jitsu, or no, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, the shit where they roll around on the floor and punch the shit out of each other. And I've sparred with him before in full gears at his dojo years ago. This has been like 10, 15 years ago. I went and sparred with him at his dojo, and I remember they used 8-pound gloves, and even light contact hurt way worse than getting hit full on with a boxing glove, like a heavy boxing glove. So the boxing glove did actually absorb like quite a bit of it. Plus the headgear is pretty beefy. Like the headgear you wear is like sufficiently beefy, but the problem is like when you punch, it's not just like boom and then you pull away. You punch through it, right? Oh, yeah, so you keep transferring that force into it. And it's like it doesn't matter how much padding you have. Once that all builds up and compresses, it's like you're still getting thrown around like a rag doll. It's like I have a lot of respect for boxers. I never realized that they took so much abuse. It's like what was it? Was it Pacquiao? Who's the guy that went up against Floyd Mayweather and got his ass just... Oh, no, it was the Irish dude.
It was the Irish guy.
Well, yeah. Oh, God, Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
So Conor McGregor...
That was so dumb. That was so dumb. Putting an MMA guy up against a fucking proper boxer, like, that's two totally different things. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
It is, but like, Conor was like... Conor trained up well. But here's the thing. I thought Conor was going to win, dude. I legit thought Connor was going to win because here's the thing. In boxing, it's a very, very specific talent. You've got a lot more protection than you do in MMA. And so the MMA guys, they're like fucking, their bones are thick, man. Their brains are so concussed and fucked up and everything. It's like they can take a lot of abuse. And I was really shocked to see Floyd Mayweather throw a punch hard enough to just fuck up an MMA star. Like somebody who gets just hit in the head bare knuckles, like to the face and to the head all day, every day. And here's a dude with gloves on just fucking decimating him.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is like the MMA guys have a lot more, like there's kicks and elbows and things like that, like that you can't do in boxing. And so like you're handicapping the MMA guy, and who hasn't had as much training with just punches. You know, it's, I don't know. It just seems different. It's not the physical weight; it's the volume. Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a boxing. Boxing's fun. I would love to do it again someday, but I think my back's too fucked up for it. I think all it'd take is like one good pop on the side of the head, and my back would just be like, timber. Plus, I'd have to fight in like the weight class of like Butterbean. You remember that guy, the old boxer from back in the day? Dude, I love Butterbean. I love watching this like super out of shape fat ass dude with just logs for arms just come out there and just decimate people.
The super heavyweight.
Hey, Curtis, thank you for the $5. Said, really enjoy listening to your conversation, especially while I'm isolated. Well, I'm glad that we can be some company for some people, because you guys are company for us, too. We really do appreciate it. Let's see here. Ponage Power said, Ronda Rousey grapples you, you're done. Ronda Rousey,
hugs.
You know, the thing with Ronda Rousey is don't get me wrong, she's an amazing fighter. She's an absolutely amazing fighter, but man, she's lost a couple lately, and I haven't seen her around much anymore. I kind of feel like she got a little bit too much of the ego kind of got her, just kind of like Conor McGregor. Yeah. She just got a little too big for her britches, and she let her guard down. Like she didn't train as hard. She didn't put her heart into it like she did, because she thought that she was just invincible, and she just got walked. But yeah, me versus Ronda Rousey, shit, I got my ass kicked by like a 53-year-old woman with like 3 kids who was a black belt in judo. Like a fucking it's on the internet. I'm not like, if you guys want to go see it, just go to YouTube and type Barnacules and judo, and you're gonna find a video of a 53-year-old mom that weighs under 100 pounds soaking wet literally submit me by popping a vertebrae out in my neck. So that's like, and I didn't think she, now to be fair, I was a little drunk, and I promised not to like eye gouge or hair pull or any of that shit, and she broke a bunch of the rules. But still, somebody who weighed under 100 pounds legitimately got a leg bar across my neck and squeezed hard enough that I felt my vertebrae in my neck pop out and pop back in. And I scream, man. I scream bloody murder when she does it. I'm like, stop. I'm trying to tap out, and she's like, no, I'm gonna kill you. It was fun though. It was fun, and she wore me out too, man. Oh, she's been acting? Oh, Miss Barnacle said Ronda Rousey's been acting, so that's what she's doing now.
She was in one of the Fast and Furious movies. I know she was doing wrestling for a little bit.
That's cool. Somebody said, Ponage Power said, I love when Butterbean, especially in the episode of Jackass where he bloodied up Knoxville. I remember that. That. He hit Knoxville like so hard he like flipped him over off his feet. I do remember that.
That's what it was. Fast 7.
Let's see here. Look how small Bruce Lee was. Actually, a lot of the MMA fighters are actually fairly small guys. Not so much anymore. I mean, they're getting bigger, right? You're starting to get into this whole steroid game where they're all like these roid raged out crazy fighters. Not all of them, but a lot of the good ones, like from back in the day, like Hoist Gracie and stuff, they were all itty bitty little dudes. Because that was the thing. You didn't need weight, right? Like in Roman jiu-jitsu, it's all about like wiry, like getting around their necks and pulling their arms out of their socket, their legs out of their socket. You don't need the brute force strength. Yeah. You need the technique.
I think it depends too on the weight class. Like I think early on with like UFC and whatnot, they really only had like lighter weight, weight classes. Like it was they like deliberately had smaller guys doing it. And like as time goes on, now you have like heavyweight MMA dudes, and they're monsters, you know. And that might as well. That's almost more like boxing. It's less of a fight as it is just two big giants trying to crush each other.
There was a well, I get what you mean. There wasn't like crazy like Tank Abbott sized guys at the beginning. I do remember that. But I mean, there were some decent guys. I think Hoist Gracie, he was the one that took out Oleg Tektarov. You remember that guy? The Russian dude, where like basically they were killing him and their team still wouldn't throw in the towel.
What?
So
Whoa.
this Russian guy, Oleg Tektarov, he's a pretty decent sized dude. I won't say he's like huge or anything, but compared to
Oh,
Hoist
I
Gracie,
see.
he was fucking massive. And I
Yeah.
remember Hoist Gracie took him down like David and Goliath. Like it was like nothing for him. He got him on the ground and was like choking him out, and his head looked like it was gonna pop like a pimple. And the ref was like,
Wow.
"Are you guys gonna throw in the towel?" Because back then, remember, the team would throw in the towel if they thought that their
Yeah,
guy was
yeah.
like out. The ref didn't do it, and now the ref does it. Right now, the ref jumps in there immediately, and he's like, "Okay, you're killing this guy. We're gonna go ahead and stop you now."
Right,
But
right.
oh yeah, if you guys haven't seen the early MMC fights, what's it called? God damn it. UFC. If you go look at the old school UFC, like back in the late 80s, early 90s, the stuff that was on VHS, oh my god, was it so much more brutal than the shit today. Because there was like very few rules. The referee wouldn't break. I don't even think there. I don't even remember if there was a referee. Honestly, I don't think there was. I think it was just the team threw in the towel if their dude was like dying, and then that fight stopped.
Huh.
But I remember back in those days, man. Hoist Gracie, he was just like killing it. But then he just got like as soon as all the roid guys started coming in, the Street Fighters,
Right.
kind
Right.
of like killed his family's reputation a little bit because they would just come in and be like these guys. Like even if you got them around the neck, their neck was just too thick, you couldn't do anything. So they would just like who was the guy? God, the little short guy with the pot belly, who was like MMA heavyweight for like 2 years. Oh shit, was it Chuck Liddell? Do you remember Chuck
Oh,
Liddell?
I remember. Yeah,
Dude, he
yeah.
literally just looks like a drunken bar bouncer, like some dude that just like short little
Yeah.
fat dude on a Harley Davidson. But he just
Right,
punched so
right.
fucking hard, he just knock everybody out, and he could take like unlimited amounts of pain. Like they get him on the ground and grapple with him, and they just could not submit him most of the time. I like Chuck.
That's
I actually
pretty
liked
cool.
watching Chuck fight. Chuck was really fun to fight because he was just straight up Street Fighter. It's like, oh, what technique is he using? Oh, dude, he's just Street Fighter. He's been bouncing
hurting
people
you.
out of bars. He knows how to kill everybody every way there is possible. Oh
That's
my
good stuff.
god. So switching gears here, recession or depression? What are we in and what are we in for? What's your thoughts on this?
I don't know the difference.
Well, let's go find out
I
together.
think. Yeah. Let's see.
So let's see, and you guys can tell us in chat too, because this is something we don't know a lot about because we've never really hit this. So let's see. Okay, so
Depression.
here's our definition. So a recession, it says most experts agree that a recession happens when an economy shrinks for at least 2 fiscal quarters in a row. In other words, 6 months. This is measured by the gross national product, or GDP, which we're definitely in the crapper on, which is a number that represents the total value of goods and services produced within a country. Every car built, every hamburger sold, every lawnmower, and so on. A recession then is a period of at least 6 months when the number goes down instead of up. When GDP climbs back to pre-recession levels, the recession is over. So I think by definition we're not quite in a recession yet because I don't think it's been 6 months yet, really.
Right.
So we're not quite there yet. And a depression is okay. So depression is a far more uncommon, lasting occurrence. For example, in the last 166 years, there's only been 33 recessions and only 1 depression. I'm guessing that's the Great Depression. Think of a depression as 2 or more recessions linked together with no economic recovery in between. The Great Depression of the 1930s, the most recently and well-known example. Economic depression lasts years as opposed to months. So they're the same thing, just a period of time.
Okay.
So the
Then,
take-home-
Yeah, we're definitely in a recession. Like, there's no arguing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, over the last 6 months, right? I mean, we have, well, that's the thing I don't know is I think
I would say it
we're
hasn't
not
quite
quite to
been-
6 months yet, I don't think.
No, but we're definitely we're trending that direction.
Correct.
And
I don't think it's going to
definitely
pop
think-
back.
I definitely think even if, like, best case scenario, everybody can, like, this all opens back up, let's say May 5th or whatever. It's gonna be a minute before. Well, because first quarter, Q1 ended in March, at the end of March. So we're into Q2 of this year. Yeah, I would say it still would take. It would take. I think we'd see like an interesting little a small boom immediately for a couple of weeks, but I think generally in certain sectors you'll see a bit of a boom. I think medium term, not long term, but like in the for the majority of the next this quarter, it's definitely going to be slipping. I mean, so not to point at the stock market because obviously the stock market is not a good metric for the overall health of the economy.
Correct.
Despite a lot of people trying to use it that way.
One.
I mean,
I know, I'm just kidding. There are more than one, but
a
still.
lot of people point and say, "Oh, but the stock market's doing so well," but that's not important. Okay, are you in the stock market? Are you selling? Are you buying and selling stocks? Are you getting value out of that? No,
Yeah.
the general populace, the GDP, the gross domestic product, is a heck of a lot more of a better understanding of. We, like you said, we had over 10 million people filing for unemployment.
Yeah.
Like, that is not good for the overall health of money moving. So I don't care if the Dow Jones Industrial Average jumps 500 points. If there isn't enough liquid cash in people's pockets to start buying things, the economy is not doing well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
And so, like, I mean, I look at my own portfolio. I'm green across the board at the moment, but my overall gain loss right now, my overall portfolio is down in value. I haven't sold a dime because I'm a buy and hold kind of guy, but overall my value is down 15%.
I haven't even looked at my
fact that
401k.
today,
I haven't even looked at it because I bet you it's down 6 figures, and I can't handle that.
That's
so.
long term, and
Right.
I try not to look
Right.
at it every day because like I'm in it for the 30 years.
Yeah, I can't touch that shit for like another 20 years anyways. So yeah.
So yeah, I think definitely a recession, for sure. I think this whatever $1,200 coming to people is going to help a little bit, but I feel like it's gonna end up going to a lot of real estate. Honestly, it's going to be going to people's paying rent. There'll be a little bit of buying food. You'll see retail, not in a general discretionary retail spending, but it'll be food related. You'll see a lot of that sort of retail boom a little bit. Kroger is the overall company who owns like Fred Meyer, QFC, things like that. You'll see them boom a little bit. You'll see real estate boom a little bit. Probably multifamily home or that sort of thing, rent and mortgage payments and things. But overall, I think we're definitely recession times for sure.
So far, the data that I'm seeing too says that stimulus check's supposed to be here sometime like next week. Like sometime within the next week or so is what I've been hearing from multiple sources, because it was changing. It was all over the place, right? People were saying that it could be months, it could be days. But so far it looks like all the data that I'm seeing is normalizing to next week. So I think all the data sources are kind of syncing up on that expectation. And
I was hearing halfway through April. Yeah.
Yep. And as far as I know, it's based on your previous year's taxes, but it's $1,200 per adult, like provided that you filed taxes and you paid enough taxes to qualify, or you didn't make so much. Yeah, you have to be under a certain amount, and you have to have filed your taxes basically, and you get 12.
The IRS has a really good webpage about who qualifies for what, and if you didn't file or didn't need to file in 2018 or 2019, they have a form to fill out. Like there's like people on Social Security and things like that who haven't filed taxes in forever because they don't need to. There's a place for that so that they know where to send the money and that kind of thing. Definitely look into it. Believe it or not, they actually did a good job in setting up a website and stuff to figure this shit out for everybody. I think I think Google helped with it or something.
And I think the direct deposit is predicated on you getting your return via direct deposit from the IRS. Like if you filled out the paperwork, basically, then they just deposit it to the same bank account.
That's what I've heard as well.
So, and then if it's an unsuccessful transfer, like the account's been closed or something like that, then they mail you a check to your current registered address. So really the only way you're not going to get a check is if, since you filed your taxes last, you moved and you closed your bank account. Then in that case, you'll probably have to go to the website and mitigate that. There's going to be a lot of people that have to mitigate it, but most of us should just get a check in the mail. And I believe it's $1,200 per adult and $500 per child, up to 2. Is that right? Or is it
something like that? I would. Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard, but definitely look into it. I would leave that as an exercise to the class.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do know it's $1,200 per adult though if you meet the requirements. I just don't know about the kids. The kids are a different. Oh yeah, it's $500 per dependent child. Oh, and there's a huge caveat here. And I didn't know this at first when I looked at it. It's $1,200 per unclaimed adult, which means if you claim, like for instance, I claim my wife as a dependent so that I get a tax break, basically because she doesn't work, right? She's a stay-at-home mom. So I claim her as a dependent, and because of that, I pay less taxes for it, and I pay significantly less taxes for it. So because of that, obviously, I'm not going to get $1,200 for her, because I claimed her as a dependent. So just keep that in mind. It's for dependents. Like if you have 18 children in your house and none of them are your dependents, you're not going to get $500 for any of them. And if you have a wife or you have a spouse that doesn't work that you also claim as a dependent, if they work, you don't claim them as a dependent, I don't believe. then you get it for both. But a lot of people are going to be confused by, $1,200 per adult in the household, and it's like, not really. It's $1,200 per unclaimed.
Dependent. There's a bunch of weird stuff. Like a lot of there's like there was some talk about like college students and stuff, because, or like if you're in that weird like 17, 18 age range where like your parents don't claim you as a dependent, but like you're not, or they do, but you're too old, and there's like a weird there is a big gap of people who are not who aren't going to see anything. But there was a message here about
Douglas just said his stimulus check's already pending 4/15 in his account, so it's already like posted as when it's going to go in. So interesting. Nice. So maybe you log into your bank site and see if you have anything. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get it if you don't see anything. Just, you might have something in your bank saying that there's a check pending or a direct deposit pending or something like that. Because I'm sure they're trying to set it all up in advance so that when the day hits, they can just flip the button and make it happen. But this shit never goes smoothly. This is all unprecedented, right? I mean, it's like, I don't think the government in my entire lifetime has ever just like sent everybody a check to like bail them out of something like that. That happens for corporations all the time. It never happens for individuals. So this probably isn't gonna go the smoothest in the world. Oh wow, actually, yeah, somebody showed a picture. I found a website that has a picture of the IRS Treasury 310 tax relief, $1,200, and it's pending. So I'm finding screenshots from people on Twitter that are showing their bank account as a pending transfer from the tax, and it should say tax ref EFTS from Treasury 310. Looks like what it shows up as. Wish I could show you guys on screen, but I don't have it set up to do a screen capture right now. Interesting. Here, I'll just post this person's tweet so you guys can see what it looks like. So this is a person, Reem. Here, let me put this in chat here. So that's the Twitter link that I'm looking at right now that has a picture showing what the pending transaction is. That's interesting because so if that's there, then you don't got to do anything. If you don't see that by the 15th, then you probably want to go to the website and kajigger some buttons and figure out why it didn't happen. Yeah. And hopefully nobody finds out that they're not eligible for it if they need it, because that would suck. Yeah. But at least it's something. That's the thing is, and a lot of people have had really strong opinions on this. Like, I know a lot of people that are rich and wealthy that are like, oh, fuck the stimulus package. This is stupid. This is going to hurt the economy, blah, 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 blah. But I'm one of those people where it's like, I don't really give a shit if it helps me or not. I just want the greater good. I'm a greater good kind of guy. Like, I already live well below my means. I try to take care of my family every which way I can. Right now is kind of a fellow man kind of situation, not really a be selfish situation. So I really don't care how this affects me long term if it helps out all the people that make it possible for me to keep living. If it keeps the people working at the stores, if it keeps the people having jobs, that all benefits me in the long run. And it's short-sightedness when people are like, oh, this is bad, this is going to hurt the economy. But dude, our economy is already just getting shit on right now. Like, this $2 trillion is a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things. But what it'll do is it'll keep a lot of people employed. It'll keep a lot of people in their houses. And do you really want unemployment to be like 30 million people out of it? It's going to be way more than that. But 30 million people out of a job, and then all those 30 million become homeless? Like, could you imagine like how much that's going to affect everybody? I don't care how rich you are and how big the wall is around your complex. When you have 10,000 hungry people storming your mansion like DayZ, what I'm saying here is let them have their stimulus check, goddammit. And if I don't get one, I'm not even going to complain. Yeah. Does this stimulus help people on Medicare? I don't think you being on Medicare has anything to do with whether you get it or not.
Where is it? Here's the website.
Give us the 411, my man.
Economic impact payments. Here. This is straight from the IRS.
Yep, I got it up here too. Go for it.
Research.
So here's the list I have. You can confirm or deny it. It says have a valid Social Security number, obviously. Couldn't be claimed as a dependent of another taxpayer. So that basically means like if your wife or husband claimed you as a dependent, you're not going to get any money. But they'll get money. You're just not going to get any money. And then it said had adjusted gross income under certain limits, but it doesn't state the limits. Do you have the limits?
Here we go. Visit our information center to answer your questions about eligibility, payment amounts. Okay, who is eligible? U.S. residents will receive the economic impact payment of $1,200 for individual or head of household filers and $2,400 for married filing jointly if they are not a dependent of another taxpayer and have a work-eligible Social Security number with adjusted gross income up to...
I do get my wife.
$75,000 for individuals, $112,500 for head of household filers, and $150,000 for married couples filing joint returns. Taxpayers will receive a reduced payment if their adjusted gross income is between $75,000 and $99,000. If their filing status was single or married filing separately, $112,500 and $136,500 for head of household, and $150,000 and $198,000 if their filing status was married filing jointly. And then it's like a sliding scale. The amount of the reduced payment will be based upon the taxpayer's specific adjusted gross income. Who is not eligible? Although some filers, such as high-income filers, will not qualify for an economic impact payment, most will. Taxpayers likely won't qualify if any of the following apply. Your adjusted gross income is greater than $99,000. Filing singled or separate, blah, blah, blah. If you can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's return, for example, this would include a child, student, or older dependent who can be claimed on a parent's return. You do not have a valid social security number. You are a non-resident alien. You filed a Form 1040-NR or Form 1040-NREZ, Form 1040-PR, or Form 1040-SS for 2019.
Man, that is so confusing what you just said. You lost me after like sentence one.
Most people will.
Okay. If you're a richer, you're not going to get any more money. So just keep being a richer. Me 3 years ago, I wouldn't have got money, but I'm poor people now, so I'm definitely getting money by those metrics. I'm gonna probably use it to buy Twitch bits and give it to streamers. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Oh man. So anyways, you guys kind of get the idea. Well, from that slightly kind of, but as long as you have valid social security number and you're not rich, put it this way: if you don't get a stimulus check, it's because you make so much money that you probably don't need it. Now I realize that's probably what is that, elitist shaming or rich shaming?
Spamming.
What's that called? Oh, do we got another spammer in here? Just go ahead and ban them.
No, not banned, but just like you don't need to paste it a bunch of times. Go to the website and find out for yourself.
Well, you're nicer than me because I already like banned like 2 people for spamming.
So
if Houston gets to you first, you get to stay. You just get timed out. But if I get you first, you're done. You're done. Take you out. Oh, thank you. Okay, there's the link right there in chat, guys. AuxxZillary just dumped it, so you can see if you're gonna get your monies.
So that's the place to start. There are that's straight from the IRS. That's who's I suppose technically handing out the money is coming from the Treasury and through the IRS. But yeah, so
you know what this is going to piss off a bunch of people.
There, I promise.
You know what this is going to end up pissing off a bunch of people though. I just found a hole in this that's going to make people rage. From what you said, now correct me if I'm wrong by your understanding of this, but it sounds to me like if you are 18 years old and you live with your parents and they still claim you as a dependent, because as long as you're living with them, they can claim you, I think, up to like 23 or something like that, 21 or 23.
Something like that, yeah.
So if they claim you as a dependent, you're ineligible to get that money. Your parents are going to get the money for you.
Right, and they'll get the 500.
So if you're living at home and you're like 18 and you're working and you paid your taxes and you made your money, if your parents claimed you as a dependent because you're living them in their house, you are not going to get a check. They are. So you're going to be like, where's my stimulus package? Because I only make minimum wage right now. Give me my damn stimulus package. It sounds to me like if you live with your parents, you're not going to get it. I hope that's wrong, though. I hope that's wrong. But from what that sounded like is the parents, if you have a claimed dependent child in your house, you get the money for it. They do not get the money for it unless they are not claimed. And here's what I don't understand is if you live with your parents and you're over 18 years old, technically, can you stop your parents from claiming you as a dependent? Or do they get to do it by default because you live in their house?
You could cause some trouble by filing your own taxes as your own individual. And then if they claim you as a dependent, the feds are going to be upset about it.
Auditors.
Yeah.
They're going to like take you away.
I've heard stories of like split parents both claiming a child as their dependent on their taxes and then getting a good finger wagging from the feds for it.
Somebody said their parents don't get the money either. Well, they should, because it said that as long as it's that's true, because they did say child, and a child would be somebody under the age of 18. So if you're over the age of 18, your parents claim you're a dependent. That's what. Let me know if one of you guys gets a stimulus check that's in that ballpark, because I know a lot of people that live with their parents past 18. That's like common occurrence nowadays with the way our economy is. That would suck, because just because you live with your parents doesn't mean that you don't have a shitty job and you're not making enough money to take care of yourself and do what you want to do. So, that would kind of suck. But I guess the thinking behind that is as long as you got a place to live and you're safe and you have food, then you probably don't need it as much. But then again, that logic gets all fucked up when you apply it to a million different situations. So as many people should get it as humanly possible. What I'm glad is not happening, though, is what the first bill was supposed to do, which was basically just let corporations just dip into this $2 trillion and bail themselves out and buy back their stock and like not have to report anything for 6 months. I thought that was pretty damn stupid. So thank goodness the way it's passed now, most of the money is going to go to the people, in one way or another.
In here.
What's that?
If you guys have any sort of detailed questions about any of this stuff, consult a CPA or dig into the IRS website that have been leaking. We are not experts in this by any means. If this is going to affect your 2020 tax return,
dude, I've been hit by like 4 audits. You do not want to take tax advice from me.
Talk to an accountant. Serious business.
The IRS knows me by my first name. They've audited me so many times. But to be fair, out of 4 audits, only one of them I had to give them money back. The other 3, they owed me more money. And it was pretty funny. Like so I'm going to tell you my funny IRS story. So the first time I ever got audited was about 15 years ago. This is all pre-Xander, obviously. And what had happened was I filed my taxes and I sold, I think it was like $40,000 worth of Microsoft stock because I wanted to buy my Subaru. So, and I wanted to buy it cash money because it was like some dude was selling it on Craigslist. He wanted cash for it. I was like, okay, I'll give you cash for it. And so I went and sold a bunch of stock. And I never sold stock. My entire time at Microsoft up until that point, I haven't sold stock. I was there for like, I want to say 8 years, 7 or 8 years. Never sold a single share of stock. All of a sudden, I sell like, I think it was like 30 or 40 grand. I think it was 30 grand because I paid 27 for the car. So I sold 30 grand worth of stock. And I was like, yes, I'm going to go buy this thing. And then I did my taxes at the end of the year. And what had happened was I reported my stock is sold, but I didn't. When you do your taxes, you have to tell them how much you made off the stock from the time that you got it to the time you sold it. So basically, if I get a share, if Microsoft gives me a share of stock as a bonus, these are options. Just to be clear, they're called stock options. Right. If you get an option, when you sell that option, you have to claim on your taxes how much you made on that option. So if they gave it to you at $30 and it goes up to $40, that means that you made $10 in profit. So now you have to pay capital gains taxes, which depend on how long you held that option, could be 20% or 30%. So short term or long term. Anyways, I didn't know any of this shit and I did my own taxes at the time. So I basically said that I sold $30,000 worth of options. They calculated that as $30,000 in income. What they didn't realize is that I sold the stock at like 10 cents less a share than what they gave it to me, because the stock was trending downward at that time. Yeah. So I sold it for like 10 cents less than what they gave me. So technically the IRS owed me a tax rebate on 10-cent loss on every piece of stock. I didn't calculate it right. So they're like, you didn't pay us enough taxes. You owe us taxes on $30,000. And they wanted short-term capital gains because the options were less than 18 months old. So they're like, you owe us 20% on $30,000. So they're like, give us our money. And then they wanted to put a fee on there. There was a fee, like 2 fees for it and everything. By the time it was all done, I think they wanted about $9,000 from me that was unaccounted for. And it was taxed as income too, which was above when I was making a shitload of money there. So they wanted like some extra tax there. Anyways, it was like $9,000. So I get this thing from the IRS and it's like, you owe us $9,000. You have to pay every month that you go without paying. You have to pay a penalty of like 25% interest. I'm like, the fuck? So anyways, I go online and I have Microsoft has this group legal thing that they used to do called AARG, where you can basically call an attorney and ask them questions. So I call up the attorney and I'm like, okay, so I'm in this situation. I owe the IRS $9,000. I don't know how this happened. Like, I pay the maximum taxes you could. I always had them withhold the most, so I'd get like 10 grand back at the end of the year. They want 9 grand. I'm like, what is going on here? I always get money back and now they want $9,000. Well, the guy said, did you sell any stock? First question he asked me, did you sell any stock? I was like, yeah. He's like, did you fill out form blah, 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 blah? I'm like, I don't know. I used TurboTax. He's like, you filed long form. And I was like, yeah, I used long form because you have to over a certain amount, right? So I'm like, I did long form. He's like, did you go through and like list the options and the gains from each of the option lots and everything? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I literally just went in there and it's like, your income, here's my income. And then under it, it's like, did you sell any stock? And I'm like, yes. How much stock did you sell? $30,000. It's like, I just filled, and he's like, you filled out the wrong form, dumbass. He's like, here, fill out this one. He emails me a form. He says, fill out this one, put it in the audit envelope and write something on it and then mail it back to the IRS. Don't include a check. Don't include anything. Just mail it back to the IRS with this information on it. So I mail it back to the IRS. They are the slowest fucking organization on the planet. 3 months later, I've completely ignored this. I haven't heard any. It's completely off my radar. I get another IRS letter and my heart just sinks. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, here we go again. Like, I thought this was done with.
Go to jail.
Dude, it was a check for $46.
Nice.
So the IRS 4 months later, I get a thing and I open it up and it's like, we've adjusted your 20 whatever, no, at the time it was like 2007, they're like, we have adjusted your taxes or whatever, and we now owe you. That's it's awesome. Like negative $46.97 or whatever, and there was a check in there for $46.97 from the IRS. Awesome. And they dropped all the fees and everything, obviously, because it was obviously a mistake. But I just thought it was funny because it's like they took the time to audit me, they took the time to like figure out what was wrong with it, and they spent all this money and resources trying to get their $9,000 out of me. And if they had just left me alone, they would have kept $46, because I never would have known that I left $46 on the table. Yeah. So that unfortunately,
it's so much easier now, I have to say, because like
I just have a company do it now. I'm too fucking. It's too hard now.
I get dividends. I get quarterly dividends. I worked for Starbucks, and they give you stock options after 6 months or so. So I had I forgot for like 6 years. I forgot that I was gathering up dividends off of my Starbucks stocks, and I'd made maybe $25. But yeah, thankfully, I get an email with the 1099 div form. TurboTax now is super good about asking, like, do you have this form? I go, yep, and I punch in the right numbers, and boom, 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 everything's fine.
They straight up fixed it though. Yeah, like I used TurboTax for years. They fixed it, so now it asks you the right questions, but back then it didn't.
Yeah, so man, it's super nice. Yeah, because like even like the Twitch income, or I just gather up all these different 1099 forms that they email to me, or I have to go dig them out of Amazon's buckets and stuff, and they just punch it in the right place, and poof, everything works fine, and it's super awesome.
Hey James, thank you for that $2 super tit. Thank you for the super tit, bro. Tits. I love them super tits. IRS said it will not count as income. Thank you, James. I appreciate that.
Well, that's nice.
So you know what? That would be really weird. That makes more sense to me, because if they gave you money, like the IRS gives you money as a stimulus thing to try to get you out of hawk, and then they make it income so you have to pay taxes on it. That seems to negate the whole system and overcomplicate the system dramatically. Yeah. Like if the IRS is giving you money, it should be like non-existent money that is not on the books, because otherwise they would just create this circular thing. Because what'll happen is you'll get the $1,200, you'll pay the taxes on the $1,200 that you got, and everybody's paying a different tax rate based on what income bracket they're in and above and beyond what that money would mean to them. And then you'd end up just creating this huge feedback loop in the system where it's like, now that $1,200 puts you just over the hump where you're not supposed to have the $1,200, but it raises your tax enough that it negates the entire $1,200 you just got, and you actually get less money at the end of the year because you got the $1,200. So it'd get hugely complicated.
Huh? Actually, now that I'm looking at it, hey man, I'm probably gonna make $65 just in dividends this year.
Damn, son, that'll buy you at least 2 Starbucks.
Just to do nothing. Actually, what that's gonna do is gonna buy me more stocks.
Nice, man. Reinvest that dividend, huh? That's what power investors do.
That's the idea.
Truth is, I have nothing. I lucked out big time. And what I mean is my Microsoft severance package that I got 6 years ago when I left Microsoft, I had that thing like fully invested in shit. And then I panicked because I was like, listen, I don't know what my future looks like because shit's so weird with my health and things going on with YouTube and the culture changing. There's just too many variables. I was like, I kind of panicked and I just jumped out of the market. I sold everything while it was up, and I just kept it in liquid. It's just sitting in my investment account, sitting there. It's not making money, it's not losing money. But had I left it invested where it was, I went and looked at it, I would have lost about a quarter of it. Yeah. And now that money's there for me to live off of for the next year if I have to. If shit goes completely. That's a good thing. Yeah, so I'm happy about that. A lot of people always ask me like, I got to take care of my family, like go back to work, get a job, do this, everything. You take care of your family. Trust me, I would not be pushing the issue of continuing the online career and doing all this stuff if I didn't think I could support my family. So the second that becomes a reality, whereas it's like my savings is being eaten away at a rate where I can't sustain it, and I don't have any retirement, then you bet your ass I'm going to be going back to work, like in a heartbeat. But the goal is for my business to be successful. That is the goal. It's not just to sit here and just hemorrhage money endlessly until I don't have anything left. But I was lucky enough that I grew up super poor, dude. I grew up so poor that I learned to live so far beneath my means. Like when I was working at Microsoft and I was making like $300K a year, like my last couple of years at Microsoft with bonus, stock options, about $300K. Like my base pay was only like a 140-ish something. But then all the options, the bonus and everything, like it was more money in that than my income for 3 years consecutively. And I was smart enough to squirrel a little bit of that away. Not a lot of it, but I squirreled a little bit of it away. And I live well below my means. Like all my friends and shit live in houses that cost, $3,500 a month. I live in a house that I pay $1,500 a month for.
That's the ticket, man.
My cars are used or cheap. It's like our brand new Forester. We talked them down to got a brand new Forester for like 21 something. Nice. Because it made more sense because like we actually did the math and like buying a used vehicle for $5,000 would have cost us more in the long run if you factor in the warranty. Sure. And the gas mileage. So it all made sense. So I try to look at stuff like I try to live as poor people as I humanly can. People look behind me and they're like, oh, look at all this cool shit. It's like, well, that came from Puget Systems. I bought that. Let's see. I bought the screens. That came from Puget Systems. Those 3D printers came from Ultimaker. That came from there. That came from there. It's like in this room, there's like 5 things I bought. It's like the YouTube personality thing. People send me stuff to review. So a lot of the stuff I review, I don't buy. So I've been really, really fortunate on that, right? But you look at the rest of my house, like if you came into my house right now and just walked up to my porch, you'd be like, there's no fucking way Barnacules lives here. Like my house looks like a crack den. Dude, it literally does. Like almost by design. Like the lawn has like dark patches all over it. All the shrubbery's overgrown. My entire porch is full of like fucking crushed Amazon boxes and garbage. Like dude, you open up the front door and it's like you look in there, you're going to get shot or at least tetanus if you step foot in the house. It's like people see what you show them, right? It's like all people see is like my bedroom and my room up here and sometimes the garage when it's set up as a studio. But keep in mind, those areas are all designed to be videotaped. Like it's not like if you're on my Patreon and you see me just walking around my house doing my Jerry and the Roz, it's like pile of laundry, pile of boxes, my son's folding table, 1,000 toys on the floor. It's an illusion, guys. It's an illusion. Yeah. Like you probably can't see because of the camera angle I have right now, but like behind me, there's literally just a pile of stuff. It's just literally just a pile of stuff. It's like hoarders buried alive up in this bitch. But nobody wants to watch that on YouTube. So I try to make it look a little bit snazzy. Like when I did my room tour, people now keep in mind a lot has changed since the Microsoft gig. Okay, I don't make 6 figures anymore. I haven't made 6 figures in a long time. But I still make enough to live. I make enough to get by, so I'm happy with that. But back in those days when I did the room tour, okay, the room was like crazy back then, right? Like I had probably $70,000 worth of shit in the room and I bought every last piece of it. So when I started my YouTube channel, that was all my Microsoft money. I don't have the Microsoft money anymore. So now I rely on the kindness of strangers. So but the nice thing is because I grew up in an atmosphere where it's like I never really had anything, I don't really want for it either. That's the other thing. It's like it was cool, like when I had money and I could go do stuff. Like, but I bought like memories and went and did things. Yeah. I didn't spend it on like big houses and big cars and people like mowing my lawn and shit and hedge and stuff. No, it's like my house is falling apart, dude. The gutter. I had to pay some dude $100 to come out and like nail my gutter back onto my house because it was literally falling off my house. And it was like that for like 2 years before I finally got him to do it because I can't climb a ladder anymore. Because apparently, like I don't know, the oxygen's too thin up there and I pass out. But yeah, anyways, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And you can relate to that, dude. You can relate to that. It's like there's an energy about it. Like coming on, interacting with tons of people and having a platform to be able to just talk about shit, whether it's important or not. It's an amazing feeling, man. I feel super fortunate for what I have.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Hey, Naota, thank you for the $10 super chat. He said, did you hear about the company in Texas that sent a letter to employees that if you get a stimulus check from the government, the company won't pay you the amount the check was for? That should be illegal.
Fucked up.
I'm pretty sure that's going to get them in hot water, whatever company that is. That sounds like they're on the same level as GameStop.
Those guys.
Fucking, is GameStop even going to be around when this is over? I don't think so, man. They've made too many fucking mistakes in a row.
I don't know. They're just like it seems to me like a not good place to work.
Yeah, if you guys don't know the GameStop story, basically when the states started doing the stay-at-home orders and telling businesses to close their doors, like for, GameStop was like, oh, we're an essential service. Just tell the cops we're an essential service and refuse direct orders from the police to shut down. Because the police were literally going into the GameStops and being like, guys, you got to close down. This is not an essential service. You got a bunch of people in here. This is basically just like, there's too many ponytails in this area for it to be essential. So you got to close it down. But anyways, the company literally told the managers and even said that they would be fired if they did not keep the stores open. And they got leaked. The emails got leaked. Like, how did they not think in this day and age the mails would not get leaked? Come on, let's be realistic here, folks. So, anyways, the mails leaked, and they got a firm talking to publicly, and then they did something else. Then they finally closed. Okay, they closed down the stores after that huge media backlash from the people. But then they did something else. What was the other thing they did? Can somebody tell me in chat? It completely lost my mind. There was a second thing that they did that also got leaked to the public. Oh, what was it? Fuck.
I'm not sure. For GameStop?
Yeah, for GameStop. There's two things. There's the one where they refused to close down during the outbreak, and then there was another thing that they did after they closed down, and I can't remember what the fuck it was. But I was like shaking my head, like I was facepalming hard on Twitter because I'm like, dude, they literally just like had that leak and then they did something again. Was it the conference call? It might have been, but they fucked up a second time, and everybody was like, dude, there's no way they're coming back after this. Like there's no way. Did GameStop lose their license in a couple of states? I think they got warnings. I don't know if they actually lost it. No, they did. They did. Was that
in March 22nd? They closed all their stores after pressure from everybody.
No, they're right. That was the second issue. They actually some states actually banned them. Like they can't open their doors. They have to completely close. Let me see if I can find it here. So GameStop stores, let's see here, shutter across the U.S. following Pennsylvania coronavirus closures. GameStop to eliminate customers accessing its stores as a retailer pivots to the digital e-commerce. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Where's the one? Okay, notice a closure. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, they're saying that they didn't lose their permit. Let's see here. Okay, it appears that not only will GameStop not be considered essential, but it won't even get a chance to combat the ruling as its operating permit license has been suspended until further notice in the state of Pennsylvania. Wow. So until Pennsylvania reinstates their license, they can't even have a business. So even if this all clears up, they can't come back in Pennsylvania until the state deems that they can have their license back, or even if they can have their license back.
That's crazy.
Dude, so could you imagine that? That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. So, and this was after they closed, because the Pennsylvania was like, no, the fuck you didn't. Like, no, you don't get to dictate that shit when this is going on. And here's the thing, GameStop doesn't do a single thing that can't be done online. Like, you can literally mail your old consoles and shit directly to them online and get store credit and stuff. You can buy the games online. Their entire business model, the retail outlet, is just to make things like easier. It's just to make it easier for you. It's like all their services were offered online. So they were absolutely not an essential service under anybody's definition.
No.
So GameStop is now trying to make hand sanitizer out of rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, I made my own. It still works good. I've been using this shit like crazy. Yeah, I don't like the bottle. I need to transfer it to a new bottle, though, because it doesn't foam up. This is one of those foamy bottles, so when I push it, it just like pisses out a bunch of stuff all over the place. But yeah, that right there, man, that is 99% isopropyl alcohol mixed with a little bit of aloe vera.
Nice.
For my pleasure. So shall we jump into the final topic of the day, is Apple and Google's virus tracking?
Oh, sure.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? So I know nothing about this, but I got an article pulled up here, so we'll get this started. So it says just the fact that Apple and Google are working together is pretty amazing. Would you see something?
Oh, there was just a video auto played in the background. I had to stop it.
You're like, oh no,
so
Pornhub.
I don't know exactly what. Some Fortnite kid got banned.
It was on my boner pills. We got the best boner pills. Skip ad. Loading.
So I don't know exactly what Google and Apple are doing, but I have seen talk about it's like proximity tracking.
I think that's part of this.
What are they calling it? Yeah, so I've got that CNET article that you sent. They're talking about private automated contact tracing. So it's like using a combination of Bluetooth and I think like in GPS.
Yep.
So like basically the idea is if you download an app from a healthcare provider or whatever, and you like you're kind of constantly broadcasting a unique identifier from your phone. It's basically
a digital scarlet letter.
In a sense, I'm sort of. So like the idea is so here I'll just quote the article here.
Belt it out.
Infected people with healthcare approval could upload their digital IDs, the digital IDs their phone broadcasts, and others could check that database to see if there's a match with any of the IDs their phones logged. So basically, you collect up. It's a botnet in a sense, sort of.
It's basically just, it's not giving you personal information. It's just telling you if you've been in physical proximity of somebody who's been diagnosed already.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
it's kind of a back tracing sort of thing. So like as you go about your day, you're collecting the unique IDs or some sort of unique identifier of the people who you've come within near contact with.
Yep.
And then if you get the the local hospital sends out says, hey, we got this ID. This person who's in the hospital right now tested positive. Here's the ID from their phone. Your phone can then check that against it. And they're a lot of the privacy push here is that it would be a local database. It would not be sent to a central repository. It would be stored locally on your phone. A list of IDs of people of phones that you've been in close proximity
So it's almost
with.
more like a mesh network. It's not going over the internet.
A lot of the privacy advocate people are pushing to have it a local database stored on the device itself rather than a central repository because of like government tracking and things like this and with privacy concerns. This could very easily be, just a fucking terrible thing to have a lot of.
Oh yeah, if somebody gained access to a database and like knew where everybody was at any given point in time, that would be a little scary.
Right. And
but keep in mind, talk about like there's a positive aspect to this though. One, it's opt-in, right? It's opt-in. This isn't like just happening.
Yes. They're not going to push an update to your Android device or your iPhone and suddenly now you're broadcasting your location. This is very much they're working together to work with healthcare providers for specific apps. Like this isn't just going to be baked into the OS.
Yeah, let me explain too why this is actually a really important app to have, and I'm even going to run it myself, even though I'm a privacy advocate. But let me explain to you why it's so important. Is not necessarily just for you to tell if you've been in proximity of an infected person, but what this is going to allow them to do is they can see when new infections are occurring, like when new testing's happening, when people are going to the hospital, they can see if and when and who you were in contact with in their database that is a known carrier. So basically what that's going to allow them to do over time is this contact tracing and be able to figure out how the infection is spreading. Now, granted, they're going to need a lot of people to opt into it for it to be effective. If not enough people opt into it, the data is going to not be, it'll be useful to the people themselves, but it won't be useful for contact tracing itself. But if they can get enough people involved in this, they'll be able to track how this virus is spreading, where it's most likely to spread, how fast it spreads in different environments, whether you're in a grocery store or whether you're in a church. There's a lot of ways that they can spin that data to figure out how we can change our behaviors. And then they could do stuff like potentially push stuff to your phone that's like, this is a hotspot right now. There's more than 3 infected people or whatever in this location, but they won't divulge who the people are. They or maybe not even the number of infections. They could just give you a heat map, basically just saying these are hotspots, like avoid them right now, so that people don't just go in huge waves to a single location. There's a lot of ways that you could spin this data. And yes, is it scary as fuck? Yeah, kind of. It definitely is, because it's one of those things where it's like once this is all deployed on everybody's phone, everybody has it installed, everybody forgets it's running in the background. Then after this, they start using it for other social experiments. I mean, there's always the scary aspect of technology being used for bad, and let's be honest, usually it is. But I do see this being something that could greatly help the effort, just like folding at home.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, can I install it yet, or is it ready for prime time? Or are they still working on it?
I believe it's still being worked on.
Okay.
Let's see.
They are partnering with Google though. So Tim Cook even tweeted out. He said contact tracing can help slow the spread of COVID-19 and can be done without compromising user privacy. We're working with let's see here, Sundar Pichai or something, and Google to help health officials harness Bluetooth technology in a way that also respects transparency and consent. So they are trying to do a mesh network over Bluetooth, because if they can do it with Bluetooth and it's phone to phone and people are just walking around, they're telling each other, and the only data that they send to the cloud is basically like where an infected person was at a given time with no personal information, then I would actually approve the implementation of something like this. And this list said, what time am I streaming? Oh, go ahead.
I have to give props to Apple. Is really big on privacy. Like, on keeping all of your data to themselves. Let me put it that way. Because like they fight the government to not unlock iPhones and shit.
That is true.
If anybody's like, again, yes, they're gonna gather this and keep it for their own selves or whatever, I'm sure. But at a minimum, they are really good about keeping that shit inside their own little walled garden. And so if anybody's gonna do it and do it right, it'd be Apple. As much as I'm not one to toot Apple's horn, they do a really, really good job of keeping shit locked inside their little ecosystem.
Absolutely. Now, let me be clear, though. Apple has made some serious fucking privacy boners. They really have. Like, for instance, opening up the cam on FaceTime to like anybody that could call and not get answered. That was kind of a biggest fumble in history kind of bug. But sure. I do like their mentality towards the government. Apple is a company that knows that if they share anything with the government or they help the government in any capacity to gain access to personal information, that they're going to lose a huge amount of their customer base. Mm-hmm. And Google does have a history of cooperating with the government on things. So you could argue that even though Android may be the more secure platform in some people's minds, the company that supports it and the people that have access to all the back-end data are not. They are not to say that Google doesn't advocate for privacy. They do to a certain extent, but also keep in mind that their model is predicated heavily on violating that privacy, and that's how they make a lot of their money. And we understand that. It's like your Google account. If you have a Gmail account, you ever wonder why that's free? They're scanning every email you send for phrases and keywords to create heat maps to advertise to you, finding other people that are like you and trying to get you in contact with them and sharing their content. And YouTube's now showing you videos from somebody who's related to a person that you just sent like 5 emails to because they think you might like it because you more than likely might know that person. If you think that all these little happy coincidences that happen online when you're like, oh, wow, I was just thinking about that, and it pops up on your face on Facebook, or, oh, my God, I'm watching this dude's video. I know that guy. No, trust me, there's an algorithm behind there that's social engineering the fuck out of that for your benefit. Or I shouldn't say your benefit, more for their benefit. But the idea being is the more content that they can put in front of you that's more relevant to you and is going to have a higher likelihood of you engaging on means more dollar bills for them for advertisement. And Apple isn't really in the advertisement arena. So keep in mind, Google, you are the product with Google. With Apple, they're just selling you overpriced phones, and that's how they make their money. So Apple makes the money by selling you ridiculously cost hardware. Apple makes their money by selling you really cheap shit that you're going to use, and then they make their money off all your data.
Scratch that. Reverse it.
Oh, did I have that backwards?
Yeah.
Sorry. So Apple makes their money off selling you the expensive devices. Google makes their money off of you. So there we go. All right. Thank you for correcting that. Don't forget all those Apple not safe for work photo celebrity leaks. Dude, that was everybody that got leaked. I'm pretty sure there's a dick pic of me out there somewhere. Look for something that's got like, I don't know, looks like a really bad circumcision, maybe like, maybe 3.5, 4 inches. That's probably me.
Was that Apple's fault though? Was that really an exploit from Apple not doing something right? Or was that because a lot of people who was using what was it, iPhoto or whatever the fuck, didn't protect their iCloud or whatever, didn't have their passwords set up well, didn't have two-factor authentication, and they were able to either brute force or because I bet it was a matter of I forgot my password and they guessed at the questions or something. Is that Apple's fault or was that just bad internet habits?
I'm trying to look right now because I do tend to agree with you that the end of that was a security problem with the celebrities themselves and some social engineering was involved. In which case that would absolve Apple of all harm. But I do believe there was a vulnerability in iCloud. Like I don't know if it was responsible for the whole fappening thing, but I'm pretty sure that there was a vulnerability in iCloud. I'm trying to figure out where it is, though. Let's see, March 2016, Ryan Collins of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of unauthorized access to a protected computer to obtain information resulting in an 18-month sentence. No victims were named. Okay, hold on here. I want to see how he did it. The victims would enter their passwords. Oh, okay, hold on here. So it said it was found that Collins, was a phishing scam. They were phishing as Apple. Okay. So that's holding Apple harmless. If they replied to it and gave them their password, that's on them.
Bad internet practices. It seems like maybe a little bit of a combination. Too easy to brute force, and also, Apple's pretty good about that kind of thing.
I thought there was a vulnerability. Let me see if I can find it though, because I do remember there being an iCloud vulnerability of some kind where you could gain access to something with no credentials, but I don't know if that was related to this whole thing. It may have been something else. Let's see, vulnerability in iTunes and iCloud. Let me see if I can find this. No, that's not it. Shit, there's a lot. Okay, so let's see here. 11 critical cloud security vulnerabilities. I want to see if Apple's listed. Nope. Okay. Man, there's lots of shit on Google breaches. Like, oh my God. Gmail seems to get pwned all the time. Make sure you're using two-factor authentication. That's the other thing. That way you can literally give your password to everybody, and they can't do shit. Like, two-factor authentication is the way to go. Some people are like, oh, but two-factor authentication can also be worked around. It's a fucking lot harder to go get a fake license, go into the telecom company, get them to clone a SIM believing that you're the person you said you are, and then to go out and access it, intercept the two-factor authentication, and get in there without the person the entire time having any knowledge or any notice mails coming in saying that somebody just like reset their SIM. using your personal information. It's hard. It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible. You can social engineer yourself through just about anything.
Sure.
But it's really difficult. It's really difficult. Like, for instance, I had somebody twice 2 years ago with my previous, I don't have them anymore. I used to be with a different cell phone company that shall remain nameless. They fixed it though. This can no longer happen. So in 2 cases, you remember when Boogie and Linus and all those YouTubers got hacked? So the way that they were getting hacked was people were physically going into their cell provider stores, wherever they were, and saying that they were traveling and that they lost their SIM. And they would convince somebody behind the counter to clone the SIM and give them another SIM and then invalidate the SIM that's actually in your phone. So you'd pick up your phone and it'd be like, oh, your phone is now inactive. It's not working because somebody else cloned your SIM, and now they're sitting out there intercepting 2-factor authentication, taking over your Google, and then using your Google account to take over literally everything else with password resets. And they did this successfully, I believe, with Linus. They did it with Boogie 2988. There's a whole bunch of them. I remember everybody got hit. But the one common occurrence between all of them is that they didn't have 2-factor authentication enabled. If they had 2-factor authentication enabled, even if they had to clone the SIM, my bad. No, this is why it got around 2-factor authentication, is because they actually did have the clone SIM so they could intercept the 2-factor. So that's the one way they found a way to get around it. But then they fixed the hole, because what had happened is the stores were really relaxed. If you came in and you had a phone and it had a SIM in it and the SIM wasn't working, right? You just fry your SIM and you bring it in, you just hand them the phone and be like, oh, my shit's not okay. Here's my name. Here's my phone number. And they already doxed them, so they had the information. They'd be like, okay, Mr. So-and-so, let's just get you another SIM. They never asked for any identification. They didn't ask for any proof. They didn't look to see if the person was in a different state than where they were. They didn't ask them any security questions. So they were able to do it. Now, in order to do that, you have to have security questions. You have to show the state ID, which you could use a fake ID, but arguably you could get caught doing that, right? It's harder to do.
Yeah.
And I had 2 attempts that happened with my new phone provider that I'm with now, that both got thwarted. So, and they notified me immediately. So I got a call that's like, we have somebody here in the store in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, claiming that they're Jerry Berg. Do you know this person? And I was like, no, because I am Jerry Berg. And the person on the phone's like perplexed, like, they're like, what, did you ask him the security question or whatever? And he's like, yeah, he said he forgot it, so I'm calling the phone number on record to get a verification. And it was my home phone number. So I'm like, no, I do not authorize this. Please call the police immediately. This person is impersonating me. And the dude on the phone is like, totally gives himself away, like with his facial expression or whatever. And the dude just runs out of the store. And I can hear him on the phone. He's like, hey, wait, come back or whatever. And he's like, okay, the dude just ran out of the store. I'm really sorry about that. And so I was like, my God, that happened like in real time. I'm like, what did he look like? I'm trying to get information. I'm like, call the cops, tell them they did this. And they're like, do you have security footage? Can you send me the footage? Sorry, sir, we can't send you the security footage because it's against our policy or whatever. If you open a police report, we can release it to the police. But I'm like, how do I open a police report? I don't know what this dude looks like. I don't have any of his information. You won't give me the security footage. Anyways, that dude got away with it. The other one is I got an email. An email pops up in my box on Google that says, an attempt has been made to change your account settings or whatever. Or no, an attempt has been made to change your account settings. Why it failed. Incorrect password given. And it was in person in the store. And they sent me a notification, an email that was like every time something fails, they type it in the computer. It sends an email to the person. And so I ended up calling up the store and said, hey, I haven't done anything like this, what's going on? And they surmised that somebody had walked into a store and attempted to impersonate me. And this was during the same time everybody else was getting popped. So I was like, man. Yes, 2 failures in a row, but 2 times in 2 different states. Somebody tried to, so there was a whole like crime ring of people going around trying to do that shit. So 2-factor authentication, and make sure you have passwords on everything. That's the big, I even did a video on it a long time ago. Make sure, it doesn't matter. If it's a utility like your cable company, your power company, make sure you have a password to change. Like you have to physically give them the right password over the phone to be able to make any changes. And then for critical services, make sure you have to be there in person. And it sucks. It's inconvenient. Like, for instance, my cable company, everybody always used to try to get my cable modem shut off by calling my cable company and pretended to be me going on vacation. But now they require a password. So, and if they don't give them the password, they just hang up. And they're like, click, they don't know what to do after that. So put passwords on everything. And they let you do that. Also, I have yet to find a single service that can't request a password on file over the phone.
Yeah.
And like I can't change certain things. Like I can't change my mobile carrier. You know how most people can log into the mobile website and change their plan? I can't do that. If I try to do that through the webpage, it pops up with an error and says this is unauthorized This is unauthorized account. You must visit your local store. It's like go to your nearest store or whatever to do this. Go to your nearest store to do this because they disabled everything. So even if somebody managed to get in, two-factor authenticate it, and get into my account, they still can't fuck with my actual account without physically going into the store and showing an ID.
Nice.
So yeah, protect yourself, man. The scammers are fucking everywhere, man, and they ain't got nothing better to do than to fuck with you. So, and they usually go after the people that they can. If they find that it's too much of a pain in the ass, just like with home security systems and armed residents, it's like as a burglar, you go to the easiest house to hit, right? You look at the house that doesn't have the security. You look at the house where nobody's ever home. That's the one you hit. Nobody wants to go into the high risk thing and get shot a whole bunch. Same thing with this. It's like if you're a social engineer, unless you are completely targeting one person and you have a really like you want to dedicate your life to trying to hack that one person, in which case that person could just change everything on you constantly using these methods. You're going to look for the easy mark. You're going to, as soon as you start hearing about needing passwords and going into physical stores and shit, you're just going to cut it off there and go, okay, move to the next guy.
Yeah.
And it's been really helpful. I haven't had anything. Nothing's happened in like 2 years now. Let's see here. WGWI said, Barnacules Nerdgasm, will Windows come out with something better than Windows 10, or is Windows 10 the end? Technically speaking, Windows 10 is the last operating system that Microsoft claims that they were going to develop, but they've already broken that rule because now they're coming out with Windows 10 X for mobile devices, which is a completely different operating system that shares the same name. But yeah, just think of it this way. They're going to keep it Windows 10, just like kind of like how Mac OS 10 works, right? They're going to keep it as Windows 10. But they're just going to keep upgrading it and keep downloading feature sets where it might... Dude, if you look at Windows 10 today versus the day that it was released, it's a totally different operating system.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally different. The way the start menu works, the way the UI works, the way the control panel works, the way that all the task switching works is, and the hyper-threading shit and Intel processors and all that stuff. It's all completely different than when Windows 10 originally came out. By Microsoft's own standards, this would have been released as a completely different operating system because the difference between Windows 10 when it shipped and today is more different than Windows 8.1 to Windows 10. So that just tells you right there. I mean, so much of the code has been churned. So the answer is yes, you will keep getting new operating systems, but they're going to be free and delivered via Windows Update every 6 to 12 months.
Yep.
Let's see here. Tech We Love said,
about that.
Yep, Barnacules said the newest Windows patch is interfering with my brother's 5700 XT. Doesn't surprise me. Microsoft doesn't do shit for testing anymore on their Windows updates. So what I try to do is delay go into your Windows Update settings and delay updates by 30 days that are non-critical, because they consider their big updates non-critical. And then the way I look at it is within 30 days, they're going to know if they botched and horked everybody's computers, recall it 3 times, re-release it 3 times, fix all the shit. And then by the time you get it, you'll be fine. Don't be the lab rat.
Yeah.
Nemesis Tech said, what do you think of Film Your Hospital? We talked about that at the very beginning of the show. It's fucking despicable. These conspiracy theorists are getting completely fucking out of control. And they're spreading misinformation that ultimately leads to harm in the end for a lot of people. So fuck them and the people that believe them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there anything else we got going on here? Because we got about another 10 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Camesis Tech. Have you played Call of Duty Warzone yet? I have. Have you played Warzone? Houston?
No, not me.
Dude,
No.
it's good. Do you like Battle Royale or first-person shooter at all?
Yeah, here and there. I'm not real good at the first-person shooters, but like I've been playing Doom here and there a little bit. The new Doom. Yeah. So I know it's free to play. So
it's good, dude. It's like, if put it this way, this is my referral to it, and a lot of people will probably disagree with this because there's no frying pan, but it's basically PUBG with better graphics, and it's just smoother netcode. Like whenever I play PUBG, it always seems like really, really janky and kind of like it was put together by some guys in a garage, which I think it kind of was. This definitely has way better graphics. It's way smoother. You can still drive vehicles. You find loot in houses. There's a money mechanic to it that's a little weird, where you like pick up money and like deposit it to like helicopters that are dropping from the sky and shit like that. But I actually found it really enjoyable. Like the game, the environment, the sounds, the graphics, all that stuff like pulls you in a lot better than PUBG does, at least for me. And it's free to play, and it's 3 people squads, which I like that it's small squads. Because
interesting.
I like the fact, because it's like you can always find like, you know, one or 2 other people to play with. You know, it's these games where it's like you can have a squad size of like 4 or 8 or 16. It starts getting a little dicey when you just want to play with friends.
Yeah.
So what else we got here? Where's Codegasm? I don't know Codroid.
What is that?
Oh, that's my series that I did on how to program computers like years ago. Or are you just fucking with me?
No, I know.
I figured you were. I was like, dude, how do you not know about that? Everybody asks about it all the time. Where's Codegasm?
It's like the number 2 thing after TechTalk.
I've thought about just trolling and just creating like a Codegasm episode 7 where I just do Hello World. Like I actually regress. Yeah. Like the first 6 episodes are how to write these cool applications, and then the 7th one's like, I'm going to teach you. Okay, you want to do void main void, and then you want to do you want to go ahead and do a console.write line.
It should be like cryptography or like written code,
Like assembly.
like Da Vinci Code style. No, like Da
Oh,
Vinci
okay.
Code style, where it's like a bunch of, you know, um, Enigma machine sort of, like that kind of code breaking, codegasm. Like, I've got this wheel, and we got to figure out what the next clue is, kind of stuff.
Oh, like
That'd be
basically to
fun.
keep people on the hooks for like every episode.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
like, today we're gonna write the code to crack the first character, and then the second video is like 10 minutes. We're gonna write the rest of the code now to find the second character, and then at the end you basically have 30,000 lines that just spell "Hello World."
Yeah, right. That would be great.
That
Drink
actually
your
would be pretty
Ovaltine.
funny, dude. That reminds me of back. What was it? PC. You remember PC Magazine back in the day?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
PC
Mag
Magazine,
for sure.
yeah. So they used to have basic programs in there that you could write line by line, like in GW Basic. So you could open up GW Basic from DOS, like way back in the day, and you could type in There'd be like 3 pages dedicated to the code, and you had to write, and it was all tiny print. So you had to write in line number 10, line number 20, line number 30, and
Oh,
you'd write the
geez.
whole program, and it'd take you like fucking an entire day to input all this code and to fix all the errors and all the typos and everything. Then when you're done, you'd like push go, and it would end up being like some stupid fucking like stick game, or it'd end up being like just a picture. It just draw a picture of like some dude on a surfboard with a wave, and you're like, my god, I spent my entire day writing this code, because they wouldn't tell you like really what it was. It was like just a mystery thing, and I remember that shit
Nice.
used to always piss me off. Yeah, Film Your Hospital is
Sure to
completely
figure
fake, Nemesis Tech. 100% fake, straight up flat earth anti-vaxxer.
Wow.
The sad thing is people are falling for it, because here's the thing. What people are doing is they're using old footage from hospitals. They're using footage from hospitals that are offline right now and not taking any new people, because the fucking infectious ward is completely full. So they're basically like deferring patients. The staffs are completely overridden, but they're not actually looking in the rooms, because obviously they're not going to let you go videotape in an infectious hospital. Like, they're basing all their information on like anti-vaxxer level arguments, and everything's completely
Yeah.
taken out of context. I can guarantee you right now that if you were in a hot zone like New York, the hospital staffs are completely at capacity. They're all the dude, all the doctors, all the nurses, and everything are fucking taking interviews right now, and these are the actual people that are on the front lines, and they are telling you right now that this is scary shit. It is wearing them out. It's getting bad. And so yeah, that all it's doing is hurting people. The Film Your Hospital is basically just some huge fucking conspiracy, because somebody got bored and they got a bunch of people to bite, and all it's doing now is causing hospitals even more pain. It's causing them more frustration.
man.
It's just it's sick. It's just fucking
That's
sick.
rough.
So it just sucks, the things that people fall for these days. And then they're like,
Yeah,
oh, the
I mean, just
mainstream
look
media is
for
lying
yourself.
to us. The mainstream media embellishes, but dude, if you're a mainstream media and you lie, just look at like Fox News, for instance. Like when they just blatantly lie, they always get called out for it. Always. Like
Yeah.
when they just spew a bunch of bullshit and propaganda and everything, it doesn't matter. Even their own party starts calling them out like a month later when they fucking turn around their whole narrative on something. It's always to the bottom of it. But not a single fucking network, even the ones that hate the other networks, has come forward and been like, oh, that network's lying about how full that hospital is. No, it's like unanimous across the board, regardless of what party, what network, everything. Everybody has seen the front lines. They know what's going on. The journalists have been in the hot zones. They know what's going on. It is fucked. This is properly fucked. Now, are there going to be hospitals like in the Midwest and shit that aren't overrun yet? Yeah, absolutely. There's still areas that are still coming up on their spikes, right? They got a really late start.
Oh, sure.
To this.
Yeah.
But the problem is you have people like filming these hospitals and like not showing what hospital it is, not showing the name, not showing when it was filmed, not giving any context, not talking to any of the medical staff. Like, they're just driving by and being like, oh, look, I don't see a huge line out in front of this hospital. Look, it's all fake news. It's like, dude, you can't have a line in front of a hospital. They're going to fucking run you off and be like, stay the fuck away from here. The National Guard's been deployed in New York to tell you to fuck off so that you don't make the problem worse. I just wish people would think. I just wish people would think, because like shit like that is common sense. Like there's the stuff where it's like properly, I need to question this, and then there's the shit that is obviously just common sense. And like flat earth is common sense, right? It's like, come on, guys. It's like, go have your fun. It's entertaining, whatever. But when you get people to actually believe this shit, you are literally hurting that person intellectually and causing them to get the Darwin Award prematurely. It's like, knock it off. If you want to come up with a conspiracy, come up with a conspiracy that's like, that actually is based in some kind of fucking reality. Then it'll be slightly more entertaining.
Right?
Dude, it just drives me
Pizzagate.
nuts. It drives
It's silly.
Pizzagate. Everything gate.
Yeah, that drives me nuts too. Like ever since fucking Watergate, everything's got a fucking gate at the end of it, and it's fucking dumb.
It
like,
doesn't even make sense
Watergate
anymore.
was like the actual name of the place.
Yes.
Like that was the fucking thing, and like now everything is like a gate. And it's like, does it? And why? It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
I had an argument with somebody on Discord after my last live stream where we were talking about this Film Your Hospital, and he was like, no, it's 100% true. He's like, you can't trust mainstream media. He's like, dude, go look up this hashtag. And I'm like, dude, if I have to look up a hashtag to get information on something, that is not a credible source.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing too, is like, you think the media, okay, I'd understand if it was one or two media outlets that were like completely just giving a false narrative. That happens. That absolutely happens.
Right.
But when every single media outlet on the planet is like fucking agreeing on something, when they all hate each other and want to burn each other to the ground, that's a pretty goddamn good sign that they're onto something, and you should start looking at the information. And if you're only going to believe the videos with a hashtag, and keep in mind by them using that hashtag, they are absolutely 100% like intent on showing a false narrative because they want to perpetuate this thing because it's getting attention right now and it's trending, right? So you're not gonna see like news outlets putting it at the end of their broadcast. You're not gonna see independent journalists putting it at the end of their broadcast. And if you're not willing to believe anybody that doesn't use that hashtag, you've already fucking lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, don't look up that hashtag. It'll give you brain damage. Like, it absolutely will, because everybody's, like, posting videos, like, driving by hospitals. Like, look, man, there's not even a line out front. This thing's all a hoax, man. This is all perpetuated by the government. Oh, look, I'm recording a conversation with some lady behind the counter telling them to go somewhere else to get tested. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. They're not, the hospital's at capacity. Like, they don't have, they're sending you to a place to get tested because that place is set up to be tested. Not because they're, like, fucking lazy and nobody showed up for work. It's like, God damn, you people are dumb. Hey, Ozzy Bogdan, what's up, dude? Said 100% agree with you. Well, thank you, Ozzy. You don't have to, but I'm glad that you do.
Yeah, thanks.
Because there's a lot of shit you can disagree with me on, and a lot of people do. Like, we disagree. On my other show that I do on Twitch, we disagree. Me and the audience disagree on shit, like, randomly all the time. It's kind of part of the fun of the show. But there's certain shit that I'm not even going to engage on. Like, it's just going to frustrate me to the point where it's like, dude, I'm not even, like, that is so fucking beneath me even. And that's low, man. To be beneath me, that is like fucking scratching the bottom of the barrel. And I'm like, oh, God, when people take me down that path, it's like, oh, but I'm going to give you proof. And you can give me proof, but your proof can't have this, it can't have this, and it has to be specifically in this category of videos. It's like you can't have an argument with somebody and say, oh, dude, prove me wrong, but you can only send me videos from Alex Jones. It's like, you can't do that. Right. Like, you can't do that, dude. The dude thinks fucking colloidal silver and stuff is like going to fucking cure coronavirus.
Oh, geez.
Which is one of the other scams. Is that all these fucking false cures being sold? Like, oh, even like the Bible Network. Did you see the Bible Network got slammed with a fine?
No.
So they got hit with a fine for advertising colloidal silver as a cure for coronavirus. Like, no shit. Like, I don't think it was Kenneth Copeland. It was one of the ministries on the Bible Network. Was like, oh, and colloidal silver right here, you can buy it right now for $80 a bottle. This stuff will cure the coronavirus. And, you know, I've been taking it my whole life and I'm so healthy and I don't have the coronavirus. So the FCC hit them with violations like lying, fraud. It was a whole bunch of shit that they hit them with. I can't remember which show it was, but I was like, are you shitting me? And then Alex Jones did it too. And he also got slapped. So I don't know if he got fined, but he got told he couldn't say it anymore because on the show he's like, colloidal silver, take this shit. It's good. It's going to cure what ails you. Fucking fix that colloidal silver, get in your veins. Make that corona go by. The Dems don't want you to know about it.
Yeah. Okay.
And on that note, sir, it is 1 p.m.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, dude. Well, so okay. we put up a good show, man. We went the full end gamut. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So before we end, Houston, where can they find you? When you're streaming? Where are you streaming? Where are you going to be before the next show?
Oh. Well, I'm AuxxZillary everywhere. Twitch, Instagram, Twitter are the three big ones for me. I haven't been live streaming since like I think the last stream I did was like in the third week of March. All this stuff's just kind of got me down. My heart's just not into it for playing games and stuff. So honestly, I've been taking this time to kind of, like I was saying, do Uber Eats and stuff to kind of get some side money to really come back strong with the content that I most want to be producing, and that's building PCs and stuff. Which, by the way, if you guys are in the Western Washington area and need a PC built, I would love to do that. I specialize in small form factor.
He built mine, so
yeah.
I know the bitch knows where the cable goes. 5
machines you have. So, but I do specialize in small form factor if that's your jam. But I'll build anything. If you've got the parts, I'll put it together for you. It'll work. I promise. It'll look good.
Dude, why aren't we getting a Twitch live stream of you doing Uber Eats, like the Uber Eats live stream? Or is that like against their policy?
Mostly because actually the Uber Eats you can. If it's passengers, they've come down on that because privacy violations.
Fair
There's
enough.
a certain level of expectation of privacy for jumping into the back seat and stuff. But
I
the
can see
eats
that.
I haven't because it gets dark and can't see me. You can't see me.
Dude,
I
you
don't
just need to
have,
get like two big lights like Jay Leno does during his car reviews where the cops pull you over.
Yeah, right. I have thought about getting like a small one of those battery powered like LED things from like Aperture or something, and putting it somewhere to kind of give a soft like maybe underglow.
I have one
or
I can
something.
give you at some point. If you want, I can chuck it out on the porch and you can come grab it. It's a Neewer. It runs off like 8 AA batteries. It actually gets pretty bright and has a couple filters, but I don't use it anymore because I got like better shit now.
Oh, sure.
So
If there's anything you'd like,
I knew you were going to say that. I was going to say, you know what?
just-
When I'm cleaning up my house over the next couple days, I'll just grab shit and start
Yeah.
throwing it in a box, and I'll just let you have dibs on. I'll put it on the porch like charity, and I'll just have you like squirrel up on my porch and like haul it away one night.
Yeah, just let me know, and I'll drive up there and grab that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But, yeah. I'm just trying to take this time to kind of reevaluate and come back strong. So
Awesome, man. Well, hey, that's
but
what you
yeah,
gotta do.
AuxZillary everywhere. So
So if you guys want to
Instagram, Twitter. Twitch.
Oh yeah, that's all below too. We have that down in the description of the video. So even when it goes live, or even right now, I think you can look at the video description on YouTube. It'll tell you all the links to all of our stuff. So please go give them a follow on the social media because we like to see that number go up because it makes us feel like we're important and shit. I stream every other day during the week. Today I'm actually streaming again. This is my first stream of the morning, and then today I'm gonna shoot for Liz. I think I'm gonna shoot for 3 p.m. So that'll give me 2 hours to chill out. So 3 p.m. I'm going to start my stream called Afternoon Coffee. It's normally morning coffee, but I can't be bothered these days. Afternoon Coffee will start at 3 p.m. over on Twitch TV/Barnacules. I jump between the platforms, but TechTalk is always here on YouTube on this channel. So make sure you're subbed. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure what else? Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Yeah, the notification thing.
Touch me inappropriately. I mean, like, just do all the things. Do all the things, and leave a comment down below. Because that's different than doing a comment in the live chat for some reason. I don't know why. YouTube's weird.
Yeah.
But anyways, I will be over on Twitch later today, and then I stream every other day. So I'll be streaming on Monday. This week coming up, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. That'll be my streaming schedule. And then we'll see you here at 10 a.m. on next Saturday because we do this every Saturday. Everybody. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, guys. We love you long time, and make sure you do all those things I told you to do, and click all the links in the description. Everything. Just you know what to do. Just do all the things that like make us all super happy and everything, and we'll love you long time. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. All right.
Give us a wave.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, and now we got to go through this arduous process of pushing 75 buttons to end the stream. So, guys, just hang with us while I figure out how to do this. Okay, click that yes. Are you sure you want to end the stream? Yes, I'd like to end the stream.